It's a beautiful morning for a lot of student athletes who yesterday put their name on a line and found out for the first time in their life what a fax machine is, maybe. A lot of new players on a lot of new rosters. A lot of guys who you're saying, who were they and when will they be here and what will they be? That's how it is after signing day, and we're going to hear coaches' reactions today. What up, y'all? Merry Thursday. Happy game day. Lobo men and women's basketball play day games on a Thursday. Of course they do. What's up? It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM. And AM 610 The Sports Animal, Jeff Siembieda and JJ Buck. Micah's producing on the radio side. J. Pole and Josh on the TV side down at ProView Networks. What's good, man? How you living? You ready for a game day today? You got a long day. You're calling a game this afternoon here on the Sports Animal, Lady Lobos and Pine Bluff Golden Lions.
What it do, everyone? I am doing good. Very excited for today. That it is game day. They've been few and far between for both basketball teams to this point in time. Both the non-conference game number 3 for the men and women today, before they turn their attention to conference play.
Both teams 2-0. Lobo men over on News Radio KKOB will play Latorno, a Division III team down in Houston. That'll be your game goes at noon and theirs is at 1:30. Is that right on the timing?
No,
right?
That's not right. The pregame is 12:30 for the women here. Men will be 2 o'clock.
Okay. All right, so women will tip. They will play Pine Bluff. That'll be on the road. JJ will have the call, and the men will play Latorno. Both are 2-0, and another run. Now, Pine Bluff probably is going to be a little bit stiffer of a competition, I would assume, for the women than Latorno, which is a beautiful French restaurant down in Nob Hill. I'm thinking. I don't know. Where are you going for dinner tonight? Latorno.
Latorno?
Oh, honey, take me to Latorno for dinner tonight. Latorno. What do you know about Pine Bluff? Because this will be a little bit, I bet you know a lot about Pine Bluff, actually.
Yeah, this is out of the SWAC conference. They picked to finish 8th in the conference, but it was second-year coach Don Brown that brought in 12 new players. I think the most interesting story on the team is the leading scorer at Texas Southern in the history of Texas Southern basketball now plays for Arkansas Pine Bluff, a conference foe. And it's Joyce Kinnerson. It's because she sat out the last 2 seasons because she had a son. So she was the leading scorer in Texas Southern history. Tremendous player, 2018 Conference Player of the Year. Is back on the basketball court and leading this basketball team that is trying to rebuild and just get something going at Arkansas Pine Bluff. And I think that's a great story. And it's a backcourt that there's 3 players that can score the basketball. The women at UNM want to play chaotic, as Mike Bradbury called it yesterday. So it's going to be fun.
What's her name again? The one from
Joyce
Texas?
Kinnerson.
So if Joyce Kinnerson goes nuts and hits 3 threes in a row and you're on the call, oh, Joyce Kinnerson, 3rd 3 in a row. Joyce Kinnerson, you the mom. Can
that mom is on fire.
You the mom. Yeah, I don't know. I'm throwing garbage at you. All right, men play Latorno, Division III. It'll be another tune-up because coming up here on Monday, they open up league play. They will be in Boise to take on the Broncos, who were picked 2nd in the Mountain West Conference behind San Diego State. And so probably, I'm going to guess, I don't know, I guess a game can pop up any day now, but probably the final tune-up before they start league play.
Yeah, I think it's wrap it all up, and then they'll call Boise home for a couple of days in this new look Mountain West, which 2-game series, and it's probably a lot of 2-game series on the road for the Lobos until they figure something out.
I think it's Loveland, Texas. Yeah, and that's what I understand, and as I understood it was yesterday. All right, here's what we got for you today, and it's going to be a lot of college football today because yesterday was signing day, and we're going to kind of go through the Lobos class and the Aggies class with their coaches. Doug Martin's going to be with us, New Mexico State's head football coach. That's coming up at 7:30 this morning. Aggies signed 15 players. Talk about what they did to fill needs down there, and how it was recruiting in a season, again, unlike any other, but in a year where they weren't playing. And most of Division I, or what we call FBS now, was still playing. And the Aggies are going to play games in the fall. I'm sorry, in the spring, or at least they've got 3 games scheduled. I don't know what makes us think, what is it, the end of February? Do you feel that they're going to be allowed to practice, let alone play, or are they going to also have to go out of state to play? You got to start thinking about this now. They've got games, February, mid to late February, right? They got 3 games on the schedule. They're playing Tarleton and Highlands and Dixie State. Can they and Highlands practice? Like, at what point do you start? If they're playing games in mid-February, camp's got to open early to mid-January, right? What makes us think that that's going to be okay?
I don't think anyone's that confident right now, and I'm sure that they've been going over and over and over this scenario, these situations. Maybe it's relocate for a little bit just so your football team does get some run and get some practice in, because how long can you go with not doing anything?
I know.
That would be essentially 2 semesters and then a summer before you have a chance to get back on the football field in the fall in August or September for practice. So it's sure questions that they're working on down in Las Cruces. And the thing, at least for New Mexico State, yes, they were not playing, but still everyone had the same restrictions all year. There were no official visits. There are no kids on campus. And so at least with the relationships that you built, we'll see if they had any decommits when we talk to Doug Martin. But it was the same for everyone in terms of who they were recruiting and how they were recruiting.
Yeah, so we'll talk to him. They got 15 student athletes on the first day of the signing. But remember, this is the first day of the period. So there will be more coming in for many of these schools. UNM added 20 players, 4 in-state players. Danny's going to be with us at 8 o'clock this morning. Danny Gonzalez will, to talk about that. I've never seen a coach on signing day say, yeah, we failed. We didn't get what we needed. We don't like this class. I mean, obviously, every coach on signing day loves what they got. It feels like, and you just look at some of the sizes and you say, okay, it looks like they've got a couple of quarterbacks who did really well, who have big numbers in high school, a lot of freshmen. And this is a key, I think. It's not a class that's loaded with JUCOs. It's all freshmen that signed yesterday, which a lot of these guys are going to redshirt. He played 20 true freshmen this season. So as you're rebuilding, I mean, you want 5 classes worth, your redshirt freshman, and then your freshman, your sophomore, junior, and senior, stacked at every position. I mean, ideally, that's what it would look like. It never does, but that's kind of ideal. It looks like they got depth. It looks like they got size on the line. It looks like they got athletes on defense. I'm looking forward to hearing what he has to say. I'm more interested in how was the process when they were out recruiting, or at least in recruiting. How was the process and how was the perception? And did it change at all from when they began this process, which would be when they got here last year, as to when they wrapped up this class in the last few weeks? I'm really curious to that.
Yeah, I think that's a great question, because I think the last 2 weeks meant a whole heck of a lot to the program moving forward, but really what did it sway, if anything, in this class? Because there's very few kids you get to this point at for New Mexico that they're probably on the fence. A lot of these kids that are going around the Mountain West Conference usually have their minds made up over the last couple of months, and you see that coming in. But I think, yeah, with the momentum that the team picked up within the fan base and the state, definitely I think it gives them a different feel moving forward, because recruiting's not over. Like you said, there's another signing period coming up in January. There's still guys out there that they're going to be recruiting. They leave 5 open, for the case. Does someone decommit from somewhere else? Is there a guy that slips through the cracks that they really like? And it's an ongoing process. And to this point about freshmen, they had a really big senior class this season, and they needed to start instilling that foundation for the program. And I don't think that they'll shy away from a JUCO player or potentially a transfer that they really like, but the mindset is as you said, build that foundation, get guys in, start developing them, and that is what they hope makes global football consistently better in this conference.
All right, and the other thing on the 5 scholarships that are open still, because you're right, what opens up, who becomes available, who wants to transfer, what's the transfer portal look like when the season's open. And is there one at some point then for Isaiah Chavez? Right? At some point, there's got to. I think you and I both agree that by the time, maybe not next semester, but certainly by next school year starts, Isaiah Chavez will be on scholarship, right? I think we all agree that, right?
Yeah, and you can ask Danny about it. He did address it a little bit yesterday. He said it's not as simple as it sounds right now to just boom, here's a scholarship for Isaiah Chavez. But he definitely said he's on track to be one of those kids. And then he also said, regardless of walk-on and or scholarship, the best player is going to play. But still, that's a huge deal to earn something like that when you're a walk-on.
Well, and I think it's even more complex this year because you don't know what seniors are going to stick around for that extra year, which has been granted by the NCAA, and how who's going to stay, who's going to want to stay. You talked about Joey Noble yesterday, I think, right? So it is more complicated than it might even be in a normal year where it wouldn't be as cut and dry and simple. But I do believe the guy who's your starting quarterback, QB1 going into spring camp, and he's going in as a walk-on, at some point will have earned his scholarship. Actually, he has probably earned it. He'll get it at some point. So we'll talk with Danny Gonzalez coming up at 8 o'clock. But I'm interested in your thoughts on signing day and the locals. The focus in large respect on the locals. 4 New Mexico kids at New Mexico, the University of New Mexico. I believe just one at New Mexico State. And then guys signing all around the country, whether it was UCLA or Fresno State or it felt like a good year. I know we have ebbs and flows in this, bumps, peaks and valleys. It felt like a good year, and it just feels like you're watching New Mexico players be successful. And look, there's always been a few. I'm going to go back to when I got here in '96. Whether it was Troy Danoff at UCLA or Bobby Newcomb at Nebraska, there's always been a few, right? Taman Domzowski playing basketball at Duke. It feels like there's a few more every year. We're watching Jordan Bird and Keyshawn Banks make a difference. We're seeing what's going on at Purdue and Stanford and guys going out and not only getting a chance but making the most out of their chance. It felt like a little momentum to me yesterday.
Oh, absolutely. And especially look at the various schools that they went to that you just laid out. And they're all fascinating stories. I was reading James Jodas in Albuquerque Journal about how some of these guys get noticed. And I know how frustrated so many people are with not having a high school season right now for the athletes, but a lot of it too is the camps, and a lot of the camps in the off season are where some of these kids got noticed. It's how a Los Lunas football player is going to UCLA. It's having those moments, and one down the line who I'm definitely looking at is Aiden Chavez, as a quarterback at Siebla. He went to a couple passing camps this summer. You start getting that recognition, and you start popping up on everyone's radar. And then especially with this year, how we've seen that it can be done differently for coaches, whether it's virtually, it's all the film, it's your highlight tape. Get noticed, get on someone's radar, and you're going to get an opportunity.
All right, 505-246-0610 is how to get in. 505-246-0610, Jeff at 610knml.com or JJ at 610knml.com. That's how to send us an email. Follow JJ, send him a note over on Twitter. I guess you would tweet at him _JJ Buck, and on the Facebook, the OD in the AM. Doug Martin will be our first guest at 7:30 this morning. We're going to get more into signing day. Men's basketball plays Le Torno. What's the I need a French accent on that. Le Torno? Le Torno? Is that what it is? Le Torno?
It sounds like you're like, yeah, I got to go to Le Torno with the lady tonight. Got to do a nice dinner.
Yeah, no, he took me to Le Torno. It was so good. Women against Pine Bluff, and we got NFL tonight. You got the Raiders and the Chargers. The Chargers. They'll be on the radio tonight as well. It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
K240BL out. I'm going to the frontier, walking to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Sports Network. Don't sacrifice quality of flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
Call it as Pavi's looking, and he's got a guy wide open, and it's Gay, and he's gonna walk into the end zone. But he did a good job with it. First and goal, it's Chavez to the middle, and Chavez stops.
And Stevens in motion. On the handoff to Mitchell. Look out! Oh, see you later. Take it to the house. Fly. Cardinals fly. To the other side. Provide some protection. And off to Webskowski again. Look out. See you later. Good night. Touchdown. Webskowski. Day. He's going to fire to the end zone. Open man! Touchdown! Wildcats! Not a defender inside. A little bit. Skowski on the sideline! Asta Manana! He's off to the races! Touchdown! Clovis!
Albuquerque this afternoon.
34-24. Rancho late in the third. How about this run? Nice play. Dickerman, he's still on his feet. Touchdown, Wolverine.
Exactly what they want to get yards. He's going to go for it. He's got a guy towards the end zone. It's grabbed. Touchdown. What a play.
Long here for the Storm. Handoff to, we're going to fake the handoff, excuse me. Davidson on the deep ball. He's got some space, and it's caught!
Raiders and Chargers will take over the airways here on These Sports Animal. And now you got a lot of stuff to listen to on These Sports Animal. JJ starts with women's basketball at 12:30 today, correct? 1 o'clock tip, Lady Lobos. And the Pine Bluff Golden Lions live from Arkansas. JJ Buck, the voice of Lady Lobo basketball, will bring you the call. Nikki going to be with you today, or is it just you going solo?
To be determined. Still got a couple of things to iron out over the next couple of hours ahead of broadcast. So you just got to be on your toes, but we'll be ready to go.
All right. It's beautiful, then, I guess. So enjoy that. Wow. And then over on the big stick, 1 o'clock, Robert Portnoy, Hunter Green. How are you guys pulling that off? You got two palatial remote studios, or?
Yes.
All right. That's beautiful. Yeah, I guess you would need to, because there'll be often conflicts at the same time. And so the Lobo men will play Litorno. What's Litorno? Did we ever find out their nickname?
Aren't they the Yellow Jackets?
Oh, yes, they were. Yes, and I believe they still are, in fact, the Yellow Jackets. I don't believe they just were. I believe they still are. So you get that. College basketball.
Remember when like murder hornets were a thing? There's a whole lot that's gone on this year. So
they found that
thought we were going to get killed by a lot of things.
Yeah, they got that one hive up in Washington State and figured we got all the remember they got that one. All right, now we got all the murder hornets. There's no more.
Don't worry about that.
I don't know what the hell a murder hornet is. Although that would be a cool mascot. Like when there's a new school, and Addie believes at some point there's going to, right? I mean, all this, the elementary
that one might be a little tough.
The Murder Hornets? Is that bad?
Yeah.
As a mascot?
Today's matchup, we got the
Cougars.
Valley Vikings versus Highland Murder Hornets. Like,
yeah, well, I mean, what's you had Devil Rays and Blue Devils, and I mean, you have Hornets. Murder Hornets is just too much.
It might. Maybe it'll be like it sounds like a great Arena Football League team name.
Oh yeah, the Prescott Valley Murder Hornets. All right, who are the Gladiators playing next week? The Murder Hornets. Yeah, I'm down with that. You're probably right. All right, did you see UTEP beat up on Arizona State last night? So Arizona State, who was picked, I believe, second in the Pac-12, and when San Diego State beat them in Tempe, I think it was the night before Thanksgiving, no, it was just last week. It was just last week. It looked like a great win for San Diego State. Arizona State was ranked 23rd in the country. Utah pounded them by 13 points UTEP pounded them by 13 points last night.
Yeah, I think it goes from great win to good win. Beating
Nice
Arizona
win.
State
Yeah.
is still a solid win, but it's lost some of its luster, and that is the UTEP been waiting for with Rodney Terry. He can recruit. He knows how to coach basketball. You know, getting a big non-conference win. I think that's the biggest non-conference win for him as head coach at UTEP. This is what I knew they could be with him at the helm.
Yeah, no doubt. And I don't know much about UTEP. Just because I just haven't looked much into what UTEP is. But I think I agree with you on what Rodney Terry can do down there. It's UTEP's an interesting spot. I'm not going to tell you it's unlike New Mexico. Really rich history, a richer history than New Mexico with Don Haskins and what you saw in the movie Glory Road in Texas Western and winning the national championship. So any school that's won a national championship has got something. But 76-63, they handled Arizona State. I mean, handled Arizona State on the road, out-rebounded them. JJ, did you see the numbers? Remember when I told you yesterday, you're not going to see a disparaging stat line in rebounding. When the Lobos played Our Lady of the Lake and it was 40-something to 20-something, and I said, you're not going to see that again. Did you see the numbers? UTEP out-rebounded Arizona State. This is a middle-of-the-pack Conference USA team playing the supposedly number 2 team in the Pac-12. 46-26, UTEP out-rebounded Arizona State. I mean, it just jumps off the page. I didn't see the game, but I'm just looking at the numbers. Arizona State, as a team, shot 40%, and the Miners shot 48%. But I think that's a huge win for the Miners. A huge win for the Miners.
It is. It's a good win. While Arizona State might have dropped a little bit, still for UTEP, which is. They're not San Diego State. They're not as good as the Aztecs are right now. But to go in and get that victory, huge for the program. Bryson Williams, 22-10. He was a transfer from Fresno State. And if you recall, Rodney Terry didn't leave Fresno State because they were bad.
That's right.
There was some contract questions, issues they couldn't really agree on. And so they moved on, and it was one of the most surprising things I thought at the time. It's like, wow, they're moving on from Rodney Terry, okay. And so landing go ahead.
No, I'm sorry.
No, and so it wasn't necessarily one where he failed at Fresno State. They just might not have been as good because they were kind of in between on the recruiting classes. And then he winds up at UTEP, and you see, oh yeah, he still can recruit, he still can coach, and he's good at what he does.
It was a resource and commitment thing with him, if you recall. It was it wasn't necessarily all about money and dollars and cents in a contract. It was, are they committing to basketball where UTEP is a basketball school? I hate when we always make, is one a football school, is one a basketball school, but where's the commitment? And I always say, why can't you be both, right? I mean, Ohio State and Michigan have been both. North Carolina's football program has come so far. Duke's why can't you be both? And I look at Florida and I say, well, they're kind of both, aren't they? I mean, they won national championships in basketball and always are a national contender in football. You can be a both school. San Diego State has become, in large respect, at that level, a both school. Boise State's making a run at it. But anyway, it was really a commitment thing. It was down at Fresno State. Where's their commitment to basketball as opposed to football? And he just felt to go the other way. So that was a big win for the Miners regionally. All right, when we come back, Doug Martin's going to be with us. We'll talk about the Aggies recruiting class for football, where they're going, what they're doing as far as football. That's coming up next. New Mexico State's football coach will be with us. On the opening drive, Jeff Siembieda, JJ Buck, Micah's producing on the radio side, Jay Pohl and Josh on the TV side. On the opening drive at 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
Moreno extra pass, and Watson. Out with it, Gallegos, and he's gonna run all the way. Window, yes! Able to get out of it. How did he find Battle? It's to Cunningham, and it...
I mean, Ramos' hand.
Ramos puts it up, beats the buzzer!
Boy, Jefferson wide open.
Jefferson to Daraji! Into Watson with the jam!
Another steal by Davino Lovato, and here comes Agbaiosi, lob, two-hand hammer. You knew that was coming. Devils is all over the place. Heck about the lob to Agbaiosi, the one-hand hammer.
Put up. And a drive from Parham.
Get into the game with Garden Swartz Team Sales. They have everything you need, from screen printing, embroidery, and digital printing services, high school letterman jackets, and all high school and club uniforms and individual and team apparel with the most reliable brands like Speedline, Rollins, and Wilson. And don't forget to check out the latest F7 Shut helmet. It's all at Garden Swartz Team Sales. Give them a call, 505-884-1234. Garden Swartz Team Sales.
Creates space. He gives it off to Rivas for the three, and he buries it. Could be coming in soon. Double quick set for Avalos. Goes to the right. Avalos puts it up high. Window scores it as foul.
Right here by Lewis all the way, coast to coast, and finish.
What a...
Around the screen, against White, step back, it's blocked! JB with the block!
In transition, ahead to hit on for the two-hand hammer.
of intent are done. They went out and they're continuing. First day of the signing period was yesterday. New Mexico State got 15 new commits for their football program. They're scheduled to play a spring season starting on the 20th of February against Tarleton State, New Mexico Highlands, and Dixie State. We'll talk about that as well. It's the opening drive. Jeff Siembieda and J.J. Buck joining us now on the Quan's Auto Care Hotline. It's good to catch up with the head football coach down at New Mexico State University. Doug Martin joins us this morning. Good morning, Doug. It's been a minute. How you doing?
Hey, good morning, guys. Good to talk to you.
It didn't feel like football season. I'm not going to lie. Tuesday mornings came and went, and there was no Doug Martin to talk about an Aggie game, and it just didn't feel like football season, so it's good to hear your voice. You doing all right?
Yeah, good to talk to you guys, too. Yeah, doing well.
All right. Well, signing period started. 15 new Aggies yesterday, and the one that's going to jump off the page to a lot of people is a guy who started every game at center for Ole Miss in the SEC last year, and Eli Johnson decides he's coming to New Mexico State. I don't know if that's the highlight of your class or not, but certainly it's the highest profile signing you got.
Yeah, he was a huge piece, Jeff. And when you get a guy that started every game in the SEC, I mean that's pretty good, especially to anchor your offensive line. And Eli's an interesting guy. He's already walking away from Ole Miss with his master's degree. So I mean, this is a really bright young man. One of the big things with him is he just wanted to see a different part of the country and experience different things, and that was one of the things that helped us with him in the recruiting process. And then our whole staff really recruited him, and that was a big get.
Yeah, it looks like big physically and obviously a big get. I got to believe that's a mentor as well, right? A smart guy who's got his undergrad, who's got his master's, who starts at the SEC level, the highest level. Not only is he good to have on your line, I got to believe he's good in the room.
No question. I mean, he'll be a great role model for other young offensive linemen to see how to do it, and for our guys to see, some guy coming from an elite program in the SEC and how things are done there. And I think also appreciate some of the things we do, because talking to Eli, there's some things that he was really intrigued with that we do that they didn't have at Ole Miss. So it's good for our guys to hear that, we do things pretty well also.
That's a big thing. Doug Martin, New Mexico State's football coach, is with us.
No, Doug, while you guys were not able to take the football field in the fall, you still were on the same page when it came to recruiting with everyone else, not able to have official visits. You didn't have athletes bouncing all around the country. So how was the process for you keeping these guys committed to New Mexico State?
Yeah, it was really interesting. Obviously, it's unprecedented times, but there were some things that stood out for us. Number one is, not playing, we really had a chance to lock in on recruiting our whole staff. That was really our every day. That was our emphasis. And so we recruited much more as a whole staff than just, one guy in a particular area or one position coach recruiting his position. We really got the whole staff involved with every one of these kids, and because we had time to do that this time. I really thought that made a huge difference for us. And then I think the COVID thing, it really put us on a level playing field for the first time with everybody else in recruiting. All of a sudden, the recruiting budget didn't matter because everything's virtual. And I thought we did a great job of putting things together, virtually to show people our campus and highlight the things that we have here, along with the football program. And so it was interesting. Recruiting became down to, are you going to outwork other people? And I thought our staff did an amazing job. This might be the best class we've signed since I've been here.
Doug, how were you able to also stay connected with your team during this time and just keep those guys focused on the semester, try to keep everyone safe in such an uncertain time?
Yeah, that's a great point. That was hard. It's really been hard. And even now, our players left, right after Thanksgiving and have not returned. So we're just trying to stay in touch with each position coach with his own players, making sure we talk to them personally on the phone twice a week and do a lot of Zoom calls with them, Zoom team meetings, all those things. That's all you can do. But communicating with them is a big deal because, we did have several players that it was hard on them not playing, just mentally, and they got fatigued and just not having football to rely on. Their grades suffered a little bit because of that, and so it was, mentoring those guys back through that. And, when you have something that you love taken away from you, yeah, it impacts you. And our guys had football taken away from them this year, unfortunately, and it was just a tough situation to go through. But I couldn't be more proud of the way they handled it. They got a lot stronger, a lot faster in the weight room. We really used this time to hone in on getting guys bigger, stronger, faster, doing a lot of team building things. And I think we've got the right guys here now.
Doug Martin's New Mexico State's football coach. Doug, did you get what you need in this class? And I know this class isn't done. You signed 15 on day one. And did you get what you wanted?
Yeah, we really did. We needed to hit the offensive line really hard again, and we signed 4 really good prospects there. 2 of them high school players, 1 junior college, and then Eli, the grad transfer. The tight end position is something we want to get back into our offense. We signed 2 tight ends, 1 junior college, and Grant from up in Ruidoso, who will actually be able to join us in January because he's graduating high school early. So that's a big deal. And then defensively, we did a fantastic job recruiting defensively last year, and obviously nobody's gotten to see those guys yet because we didn't play, but our defensive line recruits from last year make us a lot better football team than what we've been the last 2 years. And then being able to add to that with this class, it really all across the board, D-line, linebacker, and DB.
You got 2 New Mexico kids. You talked about Grant Oberhue from Ruidoso, and then you get Dalton Bowles, the defensive back from New Mexico Military Institute. When it came to in-state, how did you evaluate this year's class, and how did you do with what you wanted to get?
Yeah, it was really hard, because obviously they didn't get to play this year, so you just had to rely on, junior film, and if you'd had any contact with them, had them in your camp before and things like that. So that's about the only way you could recruit. Now it's difficult for those young men in the state because, your senior year is really important. That's usually where you make the most steps forward. So there's probably a lot of guys in their senior year that didn't get the opportunity they should have gotten, and unfortunately that's nobody's fault. It's just kind of COVID. One other local guy I would say, Ivan Escobar, defensive lineman from El Paso that we signed last night also. We're really excited about having Ivan also.
All right, Doug, we're looking ahead now, and I know we talked back in the fall about playing, not playing, the decisions that had to be made. You've got 3 games scheduled for the spring. February 20th, and I would assume that means you're looking at opening up a camp here within the next 2 to 3 weeks. And we were just having the conversation where we're sitting. I mean, what makes us think, what makes you think you're going to be able to go out and start camp, let alone play these 3 games on the schedule against Tarleton and Highlands and Dixie State? Have you guys even thought of taking it out of state? I mean, is that even something that's possible? Where are you looking?
Yeah, that's very possible, and that's what we're going to find a way to practice, and we're going to find a way to play these games if we can. But we're certainly going to practice, and so we're hoping we can do that in New Mexico. But if the circumstances come that we can't, just like everybody this year, UNM moved their whole football team to Las Vegas. Why can't we do that? I mean, we can move out of state too and practice, and so we're making contingency plans to be able to do those things if we have to. I know everybody's basketball teams have had to do that right now, our team and UNM. And that's unfortunate, but that's, kind of the world we live in right now. So the biggest thing for us is we've got to be able to practice. It's unfair to these young men to ask them to go play a game in 2021 and not have spring practice when they've already missed last fall and last spring for us. So it's important that we're on the field, and we plan on being on the field. The advantage we have is that, unlike everybody else who only get 15 days of spring practice, we're going to get 29 days of practice because of playing the games. This is treated just like the fall for us. So 29 days of practice is huge, and even like the mid-year transfers that come in, they won't be allowed to play in the games because of NCAA rules, but they still get the 29 practices. So having that many more practices is going to be huge for us. And I hope we get to play the games because, those could be preseason games for us just to get guys acclimated, the guys we signed last year, and anybody else coming in that we can put in that fold.
Doug, this year, we knew it was going to be different. It was going to be a challenge. But when you look at college football as a whole, do you think it was eye-opening for anyone? Do you think it was a situation where they realized, hey, maybe we all should be more on the same page? How do you feel this year has gone as a head coach in college football?
Yeah, I mean, it was difficult. Talking to a lot of guys that, were playing, obviously, friends of mine, they were head coaches and things like that. The difficulty was the on and off. You're playing, and then all of a sudden you're off 2 weeks because you have COVID or the other team has COVID. You're practicing, and then for 2 weeks you're not practicing. And the thing that kept coming up, the guys telling me, is their teams just were not getting any better. And that's why, I was really hoping that we would have waited longer to make the decision. I know Mario wanted that too. But looking at it now, it probably was the right decision, the best decision for us moving forward, because I just don't think any of these teams that played, not many of them anyway, actually got better. from this experience. And now you look at teams opting out of bowl games and things like that. I mean, that's just not what college football is all about. And like I say, it's unprecedented. It's difficult. I think everybody's handled it probably as best we could. I think it would help college football to be more uniform in what we do and everybody playing under the same rules. And, you know, because you look at one team, they might have one positive test and they shut down. Another team has 3 or 4 positive tests, but somehow they still play. And the whole thing was just disjointed to me. And, again, it's nobody's fault. It was something that nobody could see coming, nobody's ever prepared for. But it certainly wasn't anything we want to do again.
Doug Martin's with us, just a few more minutes. Doug, did not playing affect you at all in recruiting? Did you have to explain it to kids? Were kids looking at it negatively? Well, why is everybody else playing, and why should I come there? That sort of a thing?
Yeah, you know, Jeff, it really never came up. And I think everybody kind of understood because even high school kids weren't getting to play, you know, so it was kind of an individual thing. And, you know, we did what we felt was best for our football players and taking care of them. And obviously, you know, we could have played had we just hung in there and put some type of schedule together. But I think it worked out for the best, and it helped us really evaluate our team better. We found out the guys that really love football. The guys that really love football hung in there and worked hard and are looking forward to what's ahead for us. So it really identified those guys for us on our particular team.
Last, I want to ask you about looking ahead. There's a lot of rumblings about the WAC bringing in some football playing schools and starting up an FCS football conference, with potentially building that within 4 or 5 years to being another FBS conference. I know you've heard the rumblings. Just your thoughts on it, and is that something that, in the long run, I mean, I would assume New Mexico State's plan is still to stay Division I, you play an independent schedule. Is that something that could affect your program?
Well, I'd love it if they would start an FBS program. You know, that would be tremendous. And they still have the rights to do that because they had FBS football before, as I understand it. So, you know, there's a lot of teams out there that are wanting to move up and do those things. So if that's a possibility, I'm all for it. I mean, at some point, we need to get into a conference. It'd be great if we could get all of our sports in the same conference. And I've always said, you know, football is the avenue to do that. If we can win our way into a conference and get all our sports in the conference, that's probably the best gift football could give our school, along with the money that we bring in. And I was part of that at East Carolina. You know, we were an independent, and we played our way into Conference USA, and all of our other sports got to come with us. And hopefully that's what we can do at New Mexico State.
Yeah, well, we'll see a couple of those schools, Tarleton State, Dixie State, new WAC schools that your basketball team will be playing, and you'll be playing them in the spring, starting on the 20th. Doug, appreciate you spending some time with us. Merry Christmas to you and your family. Happy holidays. We'll catch up with you when do you look at opening camp? It's got to be early to mid-January, right?
Yeah, January 22nd right now is the date that we've got targeted to start practice. And as you mentioned, the games would be at the end of February, and March 6th, I think, would be the last game. So it'll be right around the corner.
All right. Be well. Happy holidays to you and your family. We'll talk to you soon.
Okay. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Doug. Doug Martin, the head football coach at New Mexico State. The conference thing, to me, is I mean, long-term for Aggie fans, like the players come and go. I thought there were a couple things in there. The Eli Johnson thing, getting a guy to anchor your line who started every game last year at Ole Miss is huge. But the conference thing, in the long run, is a big deal.
Yeah, you need that stability. There's a reason there's only 8 schools that are independent in football. It's not ideal. It's really hard, especially if you don't necessarily have a brand like Notre Dame or BYU, where scheduling is pretty easy for you because you want a chance to play for something. And I know the money matters, but if you're having to play 2 or 3 money games every single year, that wears on you.
Yeah, all right. 505-246-0610. I want to hear your thoughts. Danny Gonzalez is going to join us at the top of the hour. We'll hear about the Lobos class. Holiday season, deep into it now. Guys, how you feeling? I know you're taking care of everyone on your list. Don't forget to take care of yourself. Can you feel better? Dealing with depression, low T, maybe even erectile dysfunction? Then I strongly suggest you call NewMail. They're right here in Albuquerque. NewMail helps thousands of men all over the country take care of themselves. They're feeling better because they picked up the phone and called NewMail at 505-652-1688. You can see what's going on at NewMail, NUMALE.com. Look, taking care of yourself and feeling better is easy. The process is comfortable from the phone call all the way through the treatment. And the results are real, guys. NuMale can help you with ED, depression, even hair loss. You just got to start the process by calling 505-652-1688. Men age, these things are natural. There's nothing to be ashamed of. But the beauty of NuMale is you can battle nature. You can feel like you again, and that is the perfect gift. Do something special for yourself, fellas. Call NuMale and feel better. 505-652-1688 or visit NuMale.com.
The New Mexico High School Coaches Association, established in 1941, is an organization of New Mexico's best and most professional interscholastic coaches. Coaches across work daily to help our student athletes excel in the classroom, on the field of play, and in our communities. Students that participate in interscholastic activities attain higher grades, higher graduation rates, and higher wages. Responsible for the North-South All-Star Games, statewide Coaches Award Program, and providing multiple professional development opportunities for New Mexico's coaches. Be a great coach by coaching beyond the game.
It's his second field goal. He's got 4 points. Watson, though, goes all the way.
Hit the deck, I should say. Cordova tried to throw it off. Romero, a 3 for...
Set out to Jutapia. Nice move behind his back. It's a good... Here's Ramos, step back, high arcing, 20!
But he needed to get his legs back under him.
Ooh, little kick.
They leave it one more time. Two-hand hammer. Up top. Yes, and the finish for Akbayosi. Saved into the hands of Riak ahead of the pack to Davina Lovato. Up high, down hard for Akbayosi. Out of the corner, Casals, the 3-0, Katenge! Let me clean up the mess! He dropped out of the rafters for that one, Steve.
Dorian over. Did he get in?
Yeah, they got in. He got in.
Touchdown, Dorian Lewis.
Seconds to play. Benavides looking, still looking up the middle. It's intercepted. It's picked off by Freddie Anaya, and Roswell's season will end perfect.
Second quarter, 2nd and 4 for Socorro at the whole 44-yard line. McDaniel trying, good block by Hicks. First down and more, 30, 25, 20. McDaniel might be gone. Touchdown.
Wow.
Touchdown for Michael McDaniel.
It's 40 seconds this year. It's not like 25 like it used to be.
He laterals it back. What a play by Hightower. Pitch.
Looked like somebody moved a little bit early. Hicks, the play fake double move. He's got his receiver wide open. Caught. One man to beat. Touchdown. Touchdown to number 17, Nathaniel.
Third and 6. Big defensive play coming up here. Little trickery to Reese. See you later. Touchdown. They went for the deep ball to Reese.
To the right, single receiver split to the left. Play fake, head up the middle, got some room. 50, 45, 40, has one man to beat. 30, 25, 10, 5, touchdown. Touchdown, Hope.
Wow.
On a
Option again, he'll keep it. Now he'll pitch it. Comes out to the 30, 25, 20, up the sideline. Still inbounds into the end zone. Let's see.
Touchdown.
Touchdown, Portell.
The outside of running an out route.
Davis in a play action, looking. He's going to go back to Lewis, and Lewis makes a cut, and Lewis still on his feet. Dorian Lewis is in for a touchdown.
I know I ask you this all the time. What jumped off the page to you? The biggest thing that jumped off the page to me, the biggest surprise was that not playing had zero impact. When I asked him, how about, not playing, did you have to explain to these guys, no, why are you the only team not playing? Nope, never came up. Like, really? It never came up. And maybe they explained it up front. But to me, that was the biggest thing that jumped off the page to me.
It is a little surprising, but when you take a step back and kind of look at the whole picture, there's a lot of football teams, but getting a Division I scholarship still isn't easy for a student athlete. Like, there's not a lot of these going around. Even as crazy, as weird as that sounds, as we sat here yesterday, right. I know I turned on the TV for about an hour and watched signing day and all these recruiting classes coming in. If you think about it from the perspective of a student athlete, we're talking about the state of New Mexico, right? 9 kids went D1 football. Yeah. And all of these kids that are working hard, thinking they have that talent, thinking that they're going to go to that level. And you just start thinking about the magnitude of these recruiting classes. When you get those offers, they still matter. And it still matters if New Mexico State is offering a kid a Division I scholarship, whether they're coming from high school or these kids at JUCO, because there's a lot of JUCO football players that aren't going D1 every single year. So I think that when you kind of look at the scale of it, but then realize still how hard it is, it's kind of understandable in that regard. And it was 15, so it was a little smaller class, but then they still are. Yeah, so they still have opportunities. Everyone is taking a step back because things might not work out right off the bat. So you give yourself an opportunity to jump on someone else or finish recruiting someone that might be undecided. And to get a starting offensive lineman with SEC experience that opted out of this season, I was graduated Ole Miss, and slide him right in and be the anchor on the offensive line, that's pretty good.
Yeah, I think, and you get these little 10, 12-minute interviews, and there's so many things you want to ask. I'm really curious about what the process was. How did, it can't be just he wanted to see a different part of the country, right? I mean, there had to be something. Like, how do you get a guy who's in the transfer portal that started all season at a good SEC program to come over? A guy who's obviously intelligent, who's got his undergrad, who's already got his master's, who's a cerebral, smart young man, and what that does, obviously to anchor your line, but how good is that guy in your room? Right, to mentor younger student athletes, I think is a big deal. I think that's such a good get. Now, and it feels different, JJ. We've seen SEC or Big 12 transfers to New Mexico or New Mexico State before, mostly skill players. I can't remember one that worked out, right? I mean, even Sharon Jones. Well, he was a quarterback at Tennessee. He's right. I mean, he's good, and he had a lot of talent, but didn't really. Would you say that worked out?
No.
Right. This one, for whatever reason, I could be wrong, and let's play this back, in 365 days. But this one feels a little different to me.
Yeah, and it's one that you don't really notice an offensive lineman, right? So it's unless they're really bad, but most of the time you're just kind of there. And so it's one of those situations where there's not like a direct stat line to put on these guys on the offensive side of the football. And it's one way, he probably just, dude loves football. It was a new coaching staff at Ole Miss this year too, right? With Lane Kiffin coming in, plus the COVID issues, which is why Eli Johnson opted out of this season. It's probably, I'm looking forward to that conversation too with that young man, just to see where he's at and what he envisioned his football journey being.
Bruce says, reply to Fearless Dougie. Let's play this interview, or put this interview, 12-17-20, in the can and pull it out after a couple games next fall, if there are games, and see if Fearless Dougie is so upbeat. Okay? Carl said, no way New Mexico State breezes. Jeff, when the governor's new minion told us on Tuesday to expect health orders for another year, forget about practice. I think that throws the 2021 season up in the air. I don't think anything's guaranteed right now. Bourne says, no way Lobo football moves spring practice out of state, Jeff. No way. After just spending 2 months at Sam Boyd, there's no way Gonzalez can pick up the bones of his tired players and ask them to do that again in March, can he?
1 minute.
Nobody can do it in April or May, can't he? Can't he? You can take him to a green county or a yellow county at that point. I got to believe there'll be yellow counties that he can take them to and be allowed to practice. Look, they're going to get creative and figure it out. JJ, we're not going to lose another season, are we?
Hope not.
I mean, I think we're finding ways to get it done. All right, Danny Gonzalez is going to be with us next. Lobos signed 20 new players yesterday. Going to talk with the Lobo football coach next. Jerry Palm will be with us from CBSSports.com. Coming up at the bottom of the hour at 8:30 this morning. Want your emails, Jeff at 610knml.com or JJ at 610knml.com. You're watching us on ProView Networks and listening to The Opening Drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
Second field goal, he's got 4 points. Watson, though, goes all the way.
Hit the deck, I should say. Cordova tried to throw it off. Romero, a 3 for...
Set out to Jutapia. Nice move behind his back. It's a good... Here's Ramos, step back, high arcing, playing it.
But he needed to get his legs back under him.
Ooh, little kick.
They leave it one more time to Hammer.
Look at this, and then we'll score again. Look at this.
Up top! Yes, and the finish for Akbayosi. Saved into the hands of Riak, ahead of the pack to Davina Lovato. Up high, down hard for Akbayosi. Out of the corner, Casals, the 3-0, Katenge! Let me clean up the mess! He dropped out of the rafters for that one, Steve.
help. You can help build this thing up because the listeners that listen to you guys, I listen to you guys. I love Sports Talk Radio. I love the city of Albuquerque. And I think you guys do a tremendous job on this show every day. JJ's doing a great job with basketball. The New Mexico Bowl is the most organized. It's the best bowl game that we've been to in my time of being to bowl games. So kudos to you. Great job. Thank you for all you've done for making college football great in Albuquerque. Have a Merry Christmas. We'll continue this journey, and I look forward to it. Go Lobos.
Merry Christmas, Danny, to you and your family. Be well. Danny Gonzalez, head football coach at UNM. Yep, because JJ, it was a press conference back when you had in-person press conferences, and I didn't make it. And I kind of, hey, Danny Gonzalez is back, and I hadn't seen Danny in a few years. There's this dude off the side wearing shorts, and I'm freezing, right? We're all wearing our beanies, and there he was. It was a year ago today when he took the job. All right, dude, Jerry Palm at the bottom of the hour. Respond to that next on the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610 Sports Animal.
You could continuously cough for hours on end, or you could take Delsum Cough. Delsum Cough gives you 12 cough relief hours to help accomplish anything you want. Don't let coughing get in the way of your day. Try Delsum Cough and make the most of the next 12 hours. Visit Delsum, DELSYM.com. Use as directed. This report is sponsored by Delsum Cough.
Traffic running up the speed this morning if you're headed through the interchange in all directions. Nothing too major going on as of right now. You may encounter some slowdowns if you're trying to get onto Paseo off of I-25 going north or southbound. And if you're headed up towards Rio Rancho on 528, you may see some slowdowns there as well, so watch your speeds.
At New Balance Albuquerque.
Freddie Anaya, and Roswell's season will end perfect.
Second quarter, 2nd and 4 for Socorro at the whole 44-yard line. McDaniel trying, good block by Hicks. First down and more, 30, 25, 20. McDaniel might be gone. Touchdown.
Wow.
Touchdown for Michael McDaniel.
It's 40 seconds this year. It's not like 25 like it used to be.
He laterals it back. What a play by Hightower. Pitch.
Looked like somebody moved a little bit early. Hicks, the play fake double move. He's got his receiver wide open. Caught. One man to beat. Touchdown. Touchdown to number 17, Nathaniel.
Third and 6. Big defensive play coming up here. Little trickery to Reese. See you later. Touchdown. They went for the deep ball to Reese.
To the right, single receiver split to the left. Play fake, head up off the middle, got some room. 50, 45, 40, has one man to beat. 30, 25, 10, 5, touchdown. Touchdown, Hope.
Wow.
On a
Option again, he'll keep it. Now he'll pitch it. Comes out to the 30, 25, 20, up the sideline. Still inbounds, into the end zone. Let's see.
Touchdown.
Touchdown, Portel.
The outside of running an out route.
Davis in a play action, looking. He's going to go back to Lewis, and Lewis makes a cut, and Lewis still on his feet. Dorian Lewis is in for a touchdown. Back to toss it. He's got all day. It's one miss, and he's rolling. He's got a guy. Can he get it there? Davison to Luke Weissong.
Hey, we told you he
touchdown.
could spin that football, and that was a throw right there. I know he's got the win in his back, but
shoot. They'll get one off, and it'll count high off the window.
Oh my gosh.
Here's the long three.
Boom.
Bang. Martinez will beat the buzzer. Got it to go. His
Fork driving kick. Three's in the air. It's good.
pass on the nice block by Hernandez Cropper.
And Brown in the transition. But why not, Steve? Is Corbalan's going to go and he puts it away. And Corbalan wants to put it down. But here comes Screechers. Brown, you can't leave him alone. Put it down.
I thought JJ again. What jumped out to me is winning those last two games. He said we might not have been able to hold on to everybody, and they lost a couple of linemen. He said one to San Diego State, but they might not have been able to hold on to everybody. Like, everybody's human, and a guy says, "I'm going to New Mexico." God, they're 0-7, bro. You really going to go there? Well, they won their last two. Look what they did, and they beat your school, right? I think that I told you the last couple of weeks. I think it makes a big difference in so many ways, and I figured it would make a big difference here.
It's a positive for where they're at as a program. To your point, you know, 17, 18-year-olds trying to make a decision, and then having all these other influences, and then getting phone calls from assistant coaches, from head coaches at other school. Like, recruiting is not a nice business. Like, it's nice when you talk about it. Like, hey, we're building relationships. We want to have this family atmosphere, but you're competing against other people. So it's always like, well, do you really think that they're nice over there at that school? Come to our school. We'll show you what's up. So it definitely helps, especially when you're trying to establish something. This is year one. You're building a foundation. You want to show progress on the football field, and then also have something to hang your hat on. And those last two victories.
Yeah, I think when you're 17, 18 years old, and you start thinking, 5 years down the line, well, they're going to build in 4 or 5 years. I don't have that time, because when you're 17, 18 years old, 4 or 5 years ago, you were 11, 12 years old. And what a difference it is, right, from being 11 or 12 to being 17, 18, to being a man going into the world. And then you start thinking, well, project that out. What a difference. You just, you and I, 4 or 5 years from now, doesn't feel like it's that much, but when you're that young, it's an eternity. And so I think that was a big deal. And then he and Doug both talked about the Zoom experience, what COVID did. And again, if you're looking to find a positive, I told you, kept the boys away from my teenage daughter. And by the way, she's not up yet. Isn't it time for school? And it sounds like it somewhat narrowed the chasm in recruiting for football.
Because everyone had to do the same thing. You couldn't, throw on this huge show, wow them, gear them up. It was, well, as you're looking at your cell phone, let's walk through our facility, and here's our locker room, and here's our weight room. And
hey, there's Claire. She's our receptionist. Yeah. Yeah.
This is what our uniforms look like. I'm sure it'll look great in them. We'll send you a photo edit so you can put it on your Instagram.
Here's the white helmets and is it anthracite? Is that what we call the dark helmets that they won both games in? Anthracite? I believe that's it. All right. I got a lot of emails. Did you see Jason Garrett's got the COVID, right? The Giants offensive coordinator, the former Cowboys head coach. So Freddie Kitchen will call plays for the Giants this coming weekend, because Jason Garrett will go into COVID procedure. We got the back end of the show is yours. You can call. I'll get to a bunch of emails responding to what we heard today, and I want to get to as many as we can. We can talk college football because we got championship weekend coming up now. It is this weekend. Bowl games start on Monday. Jerry Palm from CBSSports.com. I know you read him on a daily basis. He will be with us. That is next. You're watching us on ProView Networks and listening to the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
Kirtland Federal Credit Union is proud to be a part of the
Toss with Evans. Evans has that ball stolen. Jeremy Segura.
dribble, spin cycle, up and under move. What a pass, wrap around pass.
Harris, Legate, the long bomb, 3 ball.
Oh, great steal by Quinteros, lays it up and scores.
Pahola, a little jump step in the... And look out, here comes Agbayosi. Crawford set. That's blocked. Lansing says, get that out of here. Sister to sister, Marianne Lansing's going to go all the way. Turnaround. Ramos, pump fake, everyone bites. Ramos hits.
Jackson loses it. David Bond back. LAU. Put it down. Dunkalicious. How about it?
Lovato driving. They're going to count it. Gallegos. Ooh, a little spin and a finish. Here's Natalia Chavez. Good spin. Takes a...
Here's Ramos. Nice jump stop through the...
Play with gambling a little bit. Oh, there's a...
Hill, little step, high window. And a... Got the second.
To the middle.
Here we go, 3.9. It's Cooper's going to run with it. Cooper's going to swing it out to Lowry. Lowry, Portillo couldn't get it off, and Clovis goes in. It's waved off. He did not get it off in time. Portillo. Reverse layup. Gallegos spins. Window. Finishes.
There's a run coming from
lazy pass. Here comes Crawford. It might be showtime.
Let's play it over to Madrid. Plays it across the box off the dasher. It's settled. Shot up by Garcia. Trickles in. Goal.
Chavez blocked at the rim. And here's Dorian Lewis to Watson.
Shot on and just wide. Big deflection. Goal.
Over this first field goal. Look at that. That's gorgeous.
Not a game you can go have 25 turnovers in and win.
Get that out of here, Watson says. Here comes Hodnett all the way. He's blocked in return. Dickey, did he get it off? He did, and he hit it. They're really... Oliveras.
wild three, and it hit.
Another steal nearly by Hidon. It is a steal. Avalos ahead to Hidon. The two-hand hammer by Hidon. I knew he was going to put that one down.
ProView Networks tonight.
CFP selection. I got Mike Oresco on my mind. CFP selections on Saturday, and bowl games start Monday. They were supposed to start on Saturday with the Frisco Bowl, but that got shut down. Big week in college football as we now head into the holiday and bowl season. It's time to check in with our buddy Jerry Palm. I know you read him on a regular basis over on CBSSports.com. Jerry, I was just talking to Danny Gonzalez, the head coach at New Mexico. I can't believe it was a year ago today that he was named the head coach here, and then it's 11 months that you and I were in New Orleans, and it seems like 18 years ago with everything that's happened.
Yeah, I got this. We saw you in the beginning of 2020. And it does seem like I've aged quite a bit since then. I don't know about you, but
it's just crazy.
Yeah, what a year! In fact, somebody tweeted out, I think it was last week, game that something about San Jose was playing Nevada, a home game with Nevada in Nevada at New Mexico's home state.
Well, add one more layer to it. So San Jose State was playing Nevada Reno, in Las Vegas, on a field painted for New Mexico. Yeah. Yeah, it is what it is. Hey, I want to get into the CFP standings. And look, I'm not going to yell and scream. Here we are where we always are. There's Clemson and Ohio State and Alabama, no particular order, and then another team. And this year it's Notre Dame. How Florida they were a 23-point favorite. They lose to a 3-5 team and drop one spot. They've got 2 losses. Of all the stuff I've seen in the CFP, and it feels like, and maybe just because it's the most recent, that was the most odd to me, where I just had to sit there and scratch my head. And I get where Mike Oresco's coming from, where he says maybe we should go back to the BCS. That one to me was befuddling.
Well, actually, that was an easy pick for me.
Really?
That was obviously what was going to happen, because Florida beat Georgia, and the committee wasn't going to drop them below Georgia. So to me, the complaint is, how did either one of them end up ahead of Cincinnati? And I can see that, but they weren't. Florida wasn't going to drop below Georgia. They just weren't. So Georgia was the floor, and the floor moved up, and that's. I thought that Cincinnati would be ahead of both of them, not behind both of them. Georgia moved up because they beat Missouri pretty good. Missouri was in the rankings last week. That was debatable, but that's Georgia's the most overrated team in the however many years they've done these rankings now. What is it, 7?
7.
6 or 7?
Yeah, 7.
This year's Georgia's the most overrated team that's ever been in these rankings, and they happen to be the floor for Florida. I don't think it would have mattered. Where Florida sits today doesn't matter. It could be, what are they, 7? They could be 10. It still wouldn't matter, because they get to play Alabama, and if they beat Alabama, they're a playoff contender. Not a sure thing, but a playoff contender. And the not a sure thing is what they lost last week.
What do you think of the AAC, the American Athletic Association, or the American Athletic Conference Commissioner Mike Oresco yesterday? And look, he's going to bat for his undefeated Cincinnati team. He's had another undefeated team in UCF be left out, and he's just saying that it's ridiculous. It's stacked, and it's. Let's go back to the BCS. I don't know what the computers would have told him about Cincinnati. This feels like a year that maybe Cincinnati should have a shot. We're looking at Texas A&M sitting at 5. They've been sitting there forever because they've got that win over Florida. But right. What do you think of what he had to say yesterday?
I didn't see what he said yesterday, but I've heard it before. We've had conversations, so I've heard it before. I understand his frustration. Cincinnati, they came out in the initial rankings at 7, and I said then that was a ceiling. They weren't going to get much higher than that at all. They certainly weren't going to get to a playoff without Armageddon happening. And it's just because, I thought that it was a show of respect for the league, because that's the highest any team has been rated from the group of 5 is 7. And, and I think they should finish at least that high. But I don't see them as a playoff team, and that is something that he would argue with me about. But they're not going to get in ahead of Notre Dame and Alabama and Clemson and Ohio State because they're not as good. They're an excellent team, but they're not as good.
Jerry Palm, CBSSports.com, is with us on the opening drive.
Jerry, what will we see on the field in some of these championship games? How does Florida respond against Alabama?
They're going to get beat. It's like everybody else, and it's going to look bad. Can I say one more thing about Cincinnati?
Yeah.
And this is something I've said all along about the group of five. They're not going to make a playoff until they can prove themselves in non-conference play, because that's where they make their bones, right? That's where they can show the committee they're just as good as these teams are competing with. The problem is nobody got to play non-conference games this year that meant anything.
Yeah.
And so Cincinnati's suffering for that. Back to Alabama, Florida. Florida is going to get the same treatment from Alabama that everybody else does. They may keep it a little bit closer, but Alabama's beaten everybody by, I think, at least 17. It's an average of more than 32 points a game. This is one of the most dominant offensive teams we've ever seen. And Florida, will keep up a little bit, but in the end, they're not going to keep up. And it's going to be a loss that probably looks worse than it really is, because Florida's offense is pretty good, and they'll play with a little bit more fire than they showed against LSU, but they don't have much for Alabama.
Jerry, is the scenario for A&M or someone else if Notre Dame beats Clemson and then it's a 2-loss Clemson?
Yeah, it's A&M. That's a way for them to, first of all, they have to beat Tennessee this week, and they have to look good doing it. They can't just, roll out the helmets and walk away with a 7-point win and think that, a 2-loss Clemson is automatically going to fall behind them. A&M needs to look like a playoff team this week. But if they do that, then it opens the door for A&M. If Clemson loses, or if Ohio State were to get upset by Northwestern, I think Ohio State is the largest favorite in one of these conference championship games, even larger than Alabama. So, Texas A&M is next in line. It definitely would have been Florida. If Florida beats Alabama, they actually need A&M. They might need A&M to lose to make the playoffs.
You talk about looking good. USC is undefeated. And I've heard, Cincinnati could be an undefeated conference champion. Coastal Carolina could be an undefeated conference champion. We got USC, who could beat the second-place team in the North because it's so jacked up out here. They could be an undefeated conference champion. Well, they only played 6 games. Well, so did Ohio State. They're a power conference. Let's just play the scenario that SC wins. They're an undefeated power conference champion that is going to be ranked below all of these 2-loss teams. They're winning games. I get it, man. I saw the Arizona State game. I get how they're winning. But they're winning games. I'm not even going to sit here and try to tell you they're as good as those teams. They're not. But they're going to be an undefeated Pac-12 champion and not even in consideration.
Yep. And it's because of how they won. And the fact that the league just looks like a mess. But more of a mess than even the Big Ten does. Difficulty just getting the few games they scheduled played.
Yeah.
But USC... It has won 3 of their 5 games by scoring on their final possession.
Mm-hmm. Against bad teams.
That's just not going to get it done. And, of course, the committee has thought nothing of the league. So USC can't even say they beat a good team, in the eyes of the committee, because the only other ranked team is Colorado. And they didn't get to play Colorado.
Right.
So, USC really doesn't have anything to hang their hat on. And they didn't dominate like a playoff team should dominate what has been their schedule. And are we sure they're going to get to play Oregon? I heard they're having problems. Is that game even going to get played? I don't know. But, USC, I would rank them higher personally, but I wouldn't rank them ahead of Cincinnati or Coastal.
Would you rank them ahead? What about? Would you rank them ahead of those 2-loss SEC teams as far as Georgia and Florida?
Not ahead of Georgia, yes, not Florida.
Okay. Minute or two left. Jerry Palm's with us from CBSSports.com.
Jerry, speaking about Cincinnati and Coastal Carolina, it all comes down to each of them have to win their games. But do you see them being close going into this weekend with where they are in the rankings?
Close to playoffs?
Well, is there any chance Coastal could? Is there any chance Coastal, if they have a win by a large margin, could jump Cincinnati, or if they both win, they're locked where they're at?
They are not going to jump Cincinnati unless Cincinnati loses. And it doesn't matter if Cincinnati loses. Coastal then would be, if they win, the group of 5 representative. But Coastal does have a shot still to make it as an at-large. And they would have to finish 10th, I think it is, in the rankings in order to be just an at-large team, get in on their own merits to a New Year's Six game. And they're 12th right now. So they'd have to jump an Indiana team that's not playing, and somebody else ahead of them. Probably Oklahoma would be the best case scenario for Coastal Carolina to possibly just land an at-large spot in a New Year's Six game. And if that happens, Oresco's complaints about not having a shot at the playoffs are still legitimate. But now you're talking about 2 group of 5 teams in the New Year's Six. And that would be an accomplishment in and of itself.
Yeah, we were having this conversation. Is there a path for 2 group of 5s in the New Year's Six? And you think there is?
And I 10, because I think there would be 2 teams outside the top 12 or outside the top 10 that would be automatic qualifiers in the Pac-12 champion and North Carolina.
Well, and yeah, because whoever wins the Big 12 is going to be an automatic qualifier as well. Yeah,
the Big 12 champion is going to be in the
7,
top 10.
6 or 7, yeah.
So it's a Pac-12 champion that's probably outside the top 10. And then North Carolina, if they make the Orange Bowl, that would require both Notre Dame and Clemson to be in the playoffs.
Because the ACC would have their spot in the Orange Bowl.
The ACC has a spot in the Orange Bowl, and the highest rated team would be North Carolina.
Lastly, Notre Dame and Alabama, I think we all agree are in. Clemson with 2 losses, I mean, that's got to knock them out, doesn't it?
It depends on what the other teams do.
Wow.
I think that it opens the door for A&M if Clemson loses. But if A&M doesn't show up, Florida beats Alabama, then Clemson. Florida's beating Alabama. Clemson is not going to drop below. They can drop below Texas A&M. If they lose, they're not going to drop any further than that.
Yeah. All right. I won't talk to you next week. JJ will. I'll be in beautiful Frisco, Texas on Christmas Eve because, of course, it's 2020. That's where New Mexico Bowl will be played. Have a Merry Christmas. Right. Appreciate all the time that you're spending with us. And we'll read you every day, as we always do, over on CBSSports.com. Jerry, thank you for all the time. Enjoy championship weekend. We'll talk to you soon.
All right. Thanks. Merry Christmas to you guys.
See you. Jerry Palm, CBSSports.com. I mean, right? There's so much there. But there is a path. And he believes it, and I think it's right. And that would be breaking down a barrier. It's probably not getting a team into the playoff. But 2 group of 5 teams, if Coastal and Cincinnati both win, to get into the New Year's Six games.
It would be nice.
Yeah, that would be breaking down a barrier. All right, it's yours the rest of the way now. 505-246-0610. Come on in. I want to hear from you. I got a ton of emails to get through today. Jeff at 610knml.com. JJ at 610knml.com. It's just JJ. It's not J.J. It's not JEIGH or JAY. J. It's really that easy. You're watching us on ProView Networks and listening to the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
Safeguard against germs this cold and flu season.
Don't sacrifice quality of flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
the box off the dasher. It's settled. Shot on by Garcia. Trickles in. Goal.
Chavez blocked at the rim. And here's Dorian Lewis to Watson.
Shot on and just wide. Big deflection. Goal.
With his first field goal. Look at that. That's gorgeous.
Not a game you can go have 25 turnovers in and win.
Get that out of here, Watson says. Here comes Hodnett all the way. He's blocked in return. Dickey, did he get it off? He did, and he hit it. They're really... Oliveras. Wild three, and it hit.
Another steal nearly by Hidon. It is a steal. Avalos ahead to Hidon. The two-hand hammer by Hidon. I knew he was going to put that one down.
ProView Networks tonight.
District matchup there.
Davidson took it away in transition. Might be time for a jam. Yes.
Oh!
Big Barton, watch him, coach. Watch the inbounder.
Dumas Sanchez in the corner.
Back to Barton with 2.4 seconds left. Fires for the win.
And he got it!
It's good.
Oh my God!
On the last second shot.
He did.
Oh
my God!
Bakes it in from 25 feet and watch the celebration right in front of us. What a shot by Barton. He was double teamed and somehow found a way to get it in. Ramos to Gaxiola, high window for the win. It's good. It counts. Gaxiola with the game winner for a Driscoll Heritage.
Melfi can cash it in. He's got some protection. Deep ball. Erickson's open. Touchdown, Monarchs.
Second and 10. Smith looking, and he's going to fire over the middle, and he's got his guy. And it's another big play. Walking away for a touchdown, Tristan Altier.
They're going to hand it off to Chavez. Chavez breaking tackles, look out! Chavez up the sideline, stays in bounds, touchdown, Volcanovic!
That replay,
I got you.
Measurement. I mean,
Smith's got a fire on first down, and he's on the outside. There's a lot of room for Brad Thomas. A move, and he's set free. Dance into the end zone. Touchdown. So it goes.
He'll run with it. Stumbling. Gets down into the end zone. And looking to throw it. And he throws it in the end zone. Caught!
First and 10 from the 11. And spin move for Smith. Push the B button. Dance into the end zone.
He'll throw it. Looking.
Well, Jerry says there's a chance. And he doesn't seem fazed by any of the college football playoff ranking stuff with Florida. He's where you and I are. We both would have had Cincinnati above Florida and Georgia, but here we go into championship weekend. Let it play out. I don't think you're going to see chaos. I think the only thing to me that's up in the air, and I don't know where you are on this. I think Alabama's going to beat Florida. I don't think that's an issue. I think Ohio State's going to handle business. They're going to beat Northwestern in the Big Ten championship. I think now we go to the ACC. I think Clemson's going to win. I think Clemson is going to avenge that loss with Trevor Lawrence back, and they're going to beat Notre Dame. And I think the top 4 stay the same. I think it's set. I think the loser of the ACC championship game falls down to number 4. And so your playoff is going to be Alabama at 1 against the loser of the ACC championship game, and I think Ohio State's going to move up to 3, and they're going to play the winner of the ACC championship game. And I think I don't think there's going to be chaos. I don't, and I'm not sure where the argument is for who should be in. Other than that, it would be a typical year with Notre Dame. The only difference is Notre Dame's playing in the ACC as opposed to not playing in the ACC. But I think this thing's foregone and done.
Yeah, this season there's not that big argument. The biggest argument goes to 2 Group of 5 teams and where do they deserve to be in the pecking order. If it was a normal year, it would be much different, and you'd really be looking at it if you had a USC that was undefeated, they'd be in a different position instead of a 6-game played USC and et cetera. So this year it is clear cut, which it's not always going to be. And I don't believe that's always the case is, well, we get the 4 best teams, move on. This year it is, because I believe, just using the eye test too, of all of us watching football, the teams in the top 4 right now are the best football teams in the country. The only chaos, and I don't even think it's chaos, right? The only scenario that starts going, oh, okay, what happens now is if Notre Dame wins. And then the 2-loss Clemson, is that better than Texas A&M, who's just sitting there coming off potentially a win over Tennessee, or whoever wins the Big 12? Other than that, it is set in stone in terms of the top 4.
Yeah, and then who wins there? If Clemson loses, does A&M get in? Who's 6? Is it? It's the Big. It would be the Big 12 champion. So would let's say Iowa State wins. Let's say Iowa State beats Oklahoma. Does Iowa State leapfrog Texas A&M as a Big 12 champion and get in at number 4 and play Alabama? And you got to look. A&M's already lost to Alabama by 4 touchdowns. Do I need to see that again? I kind of already saw it, didn't I?
And then for A&M, they beat Florida. And where's Florida right now? And then
Florida's
Florida
a 2-loss team.
Off a loss to Alabama, potentially in the SEC championship game. And that is why I look at A&M, and they haven't moved. Like, they've been living off that Florida win. All of a sudden, that lost a bunch of its luster.
Look, if Florida gets beat, and we all think they're going to, you're exactly right. A&M's living off that win. They'd have been a team that lost their last 2 games, probably get blown out by Alabama, and lost to a 23-point underdog who was 3-5. I don't care that LSU won a national championship last year. That's not who they are this year. They're a 3-5 team that was a 23-point dog that went into your house and beat them. Like, to me, if there's an eliminating loss, that's the eliminating loss. If that wasn't LSU, what if that was Vanderbilt, who was a 23-point dog and was 3-5 and beat them? Would they have dropped to 12? But because it was LSU, like there's no difference except for the uniforms they wore. At this point, like, Florida's really good, but you can't live off of that anymore, and especially if they get beat handily this weekend. So at that point, does Iowa State and so what 2-loss team is better? Well, Iowa State lost to Louisiana and Oklahoma State, Jeff, and Clemson only lost to Notre Dame twice, and Notre Dame's number 2 in the country. I get the argument. I get the argument. The tiebreaker here is they're a league champion, and you're not. To me.
And so with 2 wins over Oklahoma, even if you factor, like, take away the conference championship, just 2 wins over Oklahoma is that better than anything Clemson was able to do.
What if Oklahoma wins? What if Oklahoma wins the Big 12 as a 2-loss team? So we'll get through this because, and I know you're all yelling Cincinnati. Cincinnati, there's their chat. It's obvious. Cincinnati should jump A&M and a 2-loss Clemson and a 2-loss. I agree with you, but it isn't going to happen. It's the opening drive. Jeff, JJ, Micah, J-Pole, and Josh. Glad you're with us on a Thursday morning on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal and ProView Networks.
Being chased, looks across, throws it up and wide open. Ball is caught, touchdown. Siembieda. Dropping, looking, stepping up. He's going to run. He's got a lot of green in front of him. To the end zone. Touchdown. Rio Rancho, Isaiah Chavez. Chavez set. He's going to run with it again and dives and...
It's Austin Smith, and to the outside, a lot of room. Look out, a foot race down the sideline. All the way on the first play from scrimmage, Chris. That's a touchdown.
Scrambling. And great hit. He bounces off outside. Got some daylight at the 20, the 10, the 5. What an incredible run.
Another!
Opportunity here. Martinez shoots, he scores.
Cut into it. Had some nice looks at the rim. Win. Inside. They're not going to miss this one. Two-hand hammer from Murillo.
Ball's played up. Rodriguez with it. Gonna settle. Looks to the inside. Brings to the far side push. Shot on in. Goal. Deflected in. No.
Dorian's going to go all the way. It was blocked by the rim. Get it out, says Kobe Wade. Ramos. Got it. Look out. Ramos, can he chase it down? It was a freebie. Saved it. And then stolen. And somehow Hasbury's got it back. Handoff. Watson.
Getting stripped. Calion stripped him. Come Highland the other way. Win up top to the big goal. Here he comes.
For the lead. Got it.
What a great game plan. Look at this.
Agbaosi throws it down.
Ramos, rise and fire. He's fouled.
You know, he used to coach for Del Norte. And
Here's Voss all the way with the finish. He'll get the... Behind the back of the dribble. Trying to go up with the right hand. He changed hands in midair. And hotting it. Sent it away. Wynn doing a really good job denying Chavez. DC hasn't got the ball. Oh, Yeku. Oh. Working against Watson. Oh, look at the spin move.
TJ Bustos brings it up. Bars Tompkins, alley-oop. How about it? That was redunculous.
Lives changed. We spoke with the coaches at New Mexico and New Mexico State today. You are responding in pretty big numbers, and we're going to get to your emails. What's good, y'all? Jeff, JJ, Micah's producing the radio side. J-Pole and Josh waving at you on your television or your computer screen there at ProView Networks downtown. It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal. JJ, congratulations to former Lobo assistant basketball coach, former head coach at New Mexico Highlands, and the athletic director up there, Craig Snow, and his wife Jessica, on the birth of their third child. Alana was born on Saturday. Mommy and Alana, Jessica and Alana are doing well. Spoke with Craig yesterday, and he's got that new dad again feel to him. So congratulations to them and their family on the addition to the Snow family. Good people, and congratulations to them. All right, here's where we are, and I'm going to start because I got so many, and I want to get through as many as we can. Jeff at 610knml.com, JJ at 610knml.com. You heard from Doug Martin this morning. You heard from Danny Gonzalez. You heard from Jerry Palm. And a lot of reaction, and get in 246-0610. That's area code 505-246-0610. Lobo Hobo says, special programming note, Jeff, tonight after listening to Lobo basketball destroy Latrine, isn't that Letorno? Folks can keep it tuned to the Big Stick for a trip down Candelaria Boulevard as Jeffrey's filling in for Brandon Vogt. All right, there you go. So, I mean, Lobo Hobo's a big Jeffrey fan.
He's auditioning to be his publicist.
I guess, man. So we got, and just so you know, dude, we got so much going on the radio station. JJ, the voice of Lobo women's basketball, has the Lady Lobos against Arkansas Pine Bluff. Coverage starts on the Sports Animal today at 12:30, and then over on KKOB 1 o'clock, right? Robert Portnoy, Hunter Green, they will have the Lobo. Nope, 1:30, 2 o'clock. Hit me. All right, 2 o'clock. The hell do I know? I don't get these memos. 2 o'clock, Robert and Hunter will have the Lobos against Letorno in their final tune-up. That's the Letorno Yellow Jackets, not the French restaurant that you're going to take your wife to when you're trying to impress her. He took me to Letorno last night, and we had the French onion soup and the débordeur de bois de duck. It's a university, not a restaurant. Carl sent me a link, and I was reading through some of what Craig Bull, the Wyoming coach, had to say. He said it was an intense presser at 7,200 yesterday when it sounded like Craig Bull is going to clean house after losing to Lobo football. Not just after losing to Lobo football, they went 2-4. Wyoming had a disappointing year, and Craig Bull was very frank yesterday, said it's about him. JJ, I think of all the teams, and look, it's so hard to look at an abbreviated season and say who was the most impressive. That's easy. That was San Jose State. Who was the most disappointing? That could be easy as well. It could be Wyoming, huh?
Yes, and even with losing Sean Chambers, you felt the way they are built, they should have been more competitive. And looking at their schedule, they played some close games. The way they play, I thought Levi Williams did okay in that situation, but you can see there was a big drop-off. And then the way they ended the year, man, it was 0 degrees and snowing sideways against Boise State. You weren't going to look that good trying to throw the football. Williams got benched for Gavin Beerup. So, yeah, I can understand the frustration.
Yeah, and there's a lot up there, and they expected better. And I think Craig's a good coach. I just don't think that's a program that you're going to win every year. You're not San Diego State went 4-4, which ended their string of what? It was 10 straight bowl seasons, I want to say. They hadn't had a non-winning season, and it's not a losing season. But 4-4 for San Diego State. If that's your down year, like you're in a really good spot. I think there's 2 programs in this league that are there. It's them and obviously Boise State. I think everybody else is going to have some peaks, and then they're going to dip below 500 for a year or two. I think that's just where Colorado State's that, Air Force is that, Wyoming is that, Nevada, Fresno State. I mean, everybody. I think New Mexico's that. And so it sucks when you have those down years. I know Tom Berman a little bit, the athletic director up there, and I know him well enough that he's not going to panic and pull the trigger and fire his coach after a losing season.
Not at all. Craig Bull works in Laramie. Program is solid despite their record, and to your point, there's still someone that they have expectations, and Greg Bowles been able to kind of reinstill that in Wyoming, and plenty of coaches, and Danny Gonzalez is one of the coaches that will tell you, yeah, I want a football team that looks like that. It's physically, the mentality, and they have that up there.
Yep, and you're gonna have a season. It's not perfect, and it's the hard part about it is, it's now. You live in the now. We all live in the now, and the sky is falling, and it's hard to see a big picture. Well, we digressed. Yeah, you did. Last year, you were where they go. They won the Arizona Bowl, right? And last year you were, I want to say, an 8-win football team at 8-4, I believe. And so yeah, you took a step backward, but that doesn't mean the program did, right? It doesn't mean you're on a bad trajectory. And I just, I'll take you back to 2008. And I remember distinctly having the conversation on this show, and I asked the question going into the football season after Lobos had won 9 games in a bowl game the year prior, and I said, "Has Rocky Long done enough around here? Where if you have a down year, has he earned a down year? Like is he going to be okay?" And obviously around here, oh no, hell no. They went to 2 straight bowl games. They were 9-4, won a bowl game. They went 4-8 that year. Played 6 games that were 1-possession games that could have gone either way. That they lost all those, and this place tired of him. And I think Tom Berman's got good enough foresight to realize, yeah, we got a good one here, and it was just a down year.
That's the furthest thing from my mind in terms of looking at the Mountain West is thinking Craig Bowles going anywhere.
Well, no, but I guarantee you that conversation's going on up there. Oh, we got to get rid of Bull. We got to lose again. We're going backwards. We digress. We were 2-4. We're too good, right? You don't think that's happening? I promise you it is.
It happens within fan bases, but looking at the administration, nah.
Yeah. All right. Bill says, you know what, Jeffy Lube? High schools are scheduled to begin 6 weeks from today. You'd think coaches are going to have to start rubbing them together, get them ready to play in the next week or two. Yesterday, when the entire state flipped red again, and we're being warned of Christmas COVID carnage, I'm not sure how it's going to work out. Yeah, the high school football scheduled to be, February 1st? I'm hoping that they can get in high school basketball, non-contact sports, cross country, golf. I'm hoping that. How you gonna play football? I think I'm kind of there with you on that pessimism. But I hope I'm wrong. Bourne says, "What are we doing, Jeffy? Games now practices out of state. They already have plenty of money in Texas. Why can't teams bubble it closed up New Mexico casino like Hard Rock and keep those funds in state?" Bourne, you're preaching the choir. You're preaching the choir. The governor's office will not allow that. Why can't they go bubble in Ruidoso and keep the money in state? Why can't they bubble? No, if they're going to go stay in a hotel and practice in Texas and in Nevada, JJ, you and I are on the same page. We've had this conversation, how many times?
Don't have an answer for
him. Yeah. Well, the answer is easy. It's that's what the governor's decided. And so the money's going to continue to go out of state. The answer is easy. That's what the governor's decided. And she's, her first and foremost priority, she says, is safety. And so that's what it is. Did you see yesterday she finally acknowledged that there are lines at Costco and that it's cold, and that now Costco, instead of just 75 people, can have 25% like any other store? There was a line coming out that, no, that this isn't happening. Have you stood in a line to get into a store yet?
Not one that's been longer than, say, like 5 minutes.
I went to Costco a week ago Sunday night and figured, at 5 o'clock they close at 6. So I figured, okay, at the end of the day, because everybody says you're going to get there early. No, I've heard the stories. There's 200 people in line. The Costco is wrapped around the corner, and they've got those Disneyland lines to get, in. It took me a half hour on Sunday night to get into Costco, and it was cold, man. And it's getting colder. And there's older people trying to get into grocery stores. It's really, really, really cold. And there was a statement from one of the PR people saying, "No, this isn't really happening. It's nobody's forcing people to stand in line." Well, There's no other way to get into a grocery store sometimes, especially in these smaller towns. So I guess they acknowledged yesterday, and they kind of upped it to 25% for an Albertsons, for a grocery store, for Costco, and so people can go do that. All right, I got more of your emails. Want your thoughts on what you heard from Doug Martin today, from Danny Gonzalez today. JJ, at some point, can we get into your guy James Harden and what's going on down in Houston? Are you going to get your beard to be like his? Are you
I cannot get the full one going.
But you can just get the chin beard going?
The chin beard. I'm a chin beard guy.
Yeah, you are. Keep that thing going. All right, 505-246-0610. Love to hear from you. Jeff or JJ at 610knml.com. No down payment for a new home? No problem. Get a jump start from Kirtland Federal Credit Union. The Jump Start Down Payment Assistance Program can give you up to $6,000 towards your new home, and that's not a loan. You don't have to pay it back as long as you stay in that home for 4 years. Prices are high right now, so don't let a down payment put that dream out of reach. Don't let that happen. If you've never owned a home, if you haven't owned a home in the last 3 years, you could qualify. Get a jump start on home ownership. Apply for your jump start assistance today. Go to kirtlandfcu.org/jumpstart. That's kirtlandfcu.org/jumpstart. Kirtland Federal Credit Union. They are more than military. They are for life. Kirtland Federal Credit Union is an equal housing lender, federally insured by the NCUA.
Don't sacrifice quality of flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walking to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, 1 scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
Call it as Javi's looking, and he's got a guy wide open, and it's Gay, and he's going to walk into the end zone. But he did a good job with it. 1st and goal, it's Chavez to the middle, and Chavez stops.
And Stevens in motion. On the handoff to Mitchell. Look out! Oh, see you later. Take it to the house fly. Cardinals fly. To the other side, provides some protection. And off to Webskowski again. Look out! See you later. Good night. Touchdown, Webskowski. An 8. 2 receivers at the top. Harris has all day. He's going to fire to the end zone. Open man. Touchdown. Wildcat. Not a defender inside.
bit.
Kowski on the sideline. Hasta mañana. He's off to the races. Touchdown, Clovis.
Albuquerque this afternoon.
34-24. Rancho. Late in the third. How about this run? Nice play. Deckerman. He's still on his feet. Touchdown, Wolverine.
Exactly what they want to get yards.
He's going to go for it. He's got a guy towards the end zone. It's grabs. Touchdown. What a play.
And long here for the Storm. Handoff to, we're going to fake the handoff, excuse me. Davidson on the deep ball. He's got some space, and it's caught. Still on his feet. Touchdown, Storm. Wow. Santa Maria.
And so they'll send one deep and returnable at the 2. Usually Volcano do either a reverse or a fake reverse, and here it is a reverse. And a move to the outside. There is a lane. Look out! Shot out of a cannon. Rodriguez is going to take it all the way.
I'll just get a little closer.
Oh, instead it's a gorgeous pass.
Here's what he'll
just shoot it.
He's going to go all the way.
He's gonna fire at the buzzer and he hits.
Great pass, Hadbury, and thank you very much.
Tie in the district. Inside. Fly. Eagles.
Chavez uses some athleticism. And then Morris down low, able to finish. You called it, Steve, in 10 seconds. And look at this. Stripped, stolen Watson. Christian Lucero beats the buzzer. Here's Ian Chavez, the sharpshooter. Got it.
Said that any better. He answered the question. He
On
got
a
another
steal
one.
at the buzzer. Back to back for Chavez.
To the paint. Medina from the volleyball line. Medina wants another one from deep. Oh, he wants 10. Give him 10.
Lewis finds Watson. He's going to finish. One-handed slam.
We heard it this morning, but former Cowboys head coach, now the offensive coordinator for the New York Football Giants, Jason Garrett, positive for the COVID. He will not call the plays for the Giants this week. It'll be Freddie Kinchin, the former head coach of the Cleveland Football Browns. It's the opening drive. Jeff, JJ, Micah, J-Pole, and Josh. Glad you're with us on the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610, The Sports Animal. 505-246-0610 is how you can get in today. 888-922-0610. Your emails coming in this morning. Jeff at 610knml.com. JJ at 610knml.com. All right, we heard this morning from two head football coaches, the Division I universities, the FBS universities in our state, on signing day, Danny Gonzalez and Doug Martin. This is from Don. He says, Jeff, don't you just love the online schooling for our kids? I got 3 and I'm checking on them constantly. Sheesh, because I was saying, where's my kid? She hadn't gotten up yet. He says, love the interviews this morning. Although I'm not an Aggie fan, I never have been, never will be. It's difficult not to like Coach Martin. He seems to be genuine and hardworking. I feel for him in the Aggie program not being able to practice, let alone play. Now, for Coach Gonzalez, you can't help but be excited for the Lobo football program, especially after the 2 wins. The kids play hard for him. They respect him. You could just tell by the way they play. There's tons of room for improvement, but if the improvement they showed throughout the abnormal season is any indicator, watch out, Mountain West Conference. What gets me even more excited is the fact that he's being mentored by Coach Rocky Long. No better way to learn than to have your mentor by your side. I'm excited for Lobo football, and if Lobo fan isn't, well, I don't know what to tell you. I love the comment he made about the kid we lost to Colorado State. Shake his hand and then kick his butt on the field. I paraphrased it. This Lobo be howlin'. It's from Don. I don't know how you wouldn't be excited if you're a Lobo football fan. I don't know, again, we've had this conversation. How you're not excited, you obviously saw improvement. I think for you, the season just ended too quickly. You would have liked to see some more and see what more they could have done.
It was the weirdest feeling of this is never going to happen. Oh, it's here. Boom, it's already over. But the progress they showed on the football field looked like a different team. Even the games that they lost, there were better moments. I think the lowest one was probably Utah State. What happened in that third quarter. But you look at them playing with, competing with San Jose State, Nevada, that was huge. Going to the road in Hawaii, being a one-possession game, winning with your fifth-string quarterback, which is going to be at the top of the list when we look back at this season, and then everything else that they went through to get it done on the road. It's an incredible position to be in with all the uncertainty, to have this kind of hype moving forward. And I do think Danny Gonzalez is the right guy to manage it, where he embraces it. He's excited, but he's also going to tell you that they're not anywhere close to where they need to be. And so he's going to be, and I think you saw that too from the Wyoming game, winning it, and one-win team dumping the Gatorade, but those players needed it, man. They were living with a 20-game Mountain West Conference losing streak, a 14-game losing streak overall, staring down the quarterback barrel at QB4, then QB5 in that game to win it in the second half. Everyone understood it, needed that moment, and then it changed against the Fresno State. They were happy, and then they did their celebrating in the locker room. So this team is growing. They're learning. Danny Gonzalez is the right guy. And to that point on Rocky Long as well, I like the way Danny talks about Rocky in regards to it's someone that he trusts, he still looks up to. But he always says when he goes to Rocky with something, that Rocky just kind of sits back and says, you deal with it. You're the head coach.
That's right. Glad I'm not. Yep. Grady, good morning. You're on the Quan's Auto Care Hotline. I think you are. Is Micah there? There you are. I just didn't see you. What's up, Grady?
Local letters of intent signers of the OD and AM. Well, what's happening?
Well, life's good. Life's good.
I love National Letter of Intent Day, and especially on this brand new fangled invention called social media and the interweb. I love seeing all these local New Mexico kids, football players, basketball players, volleyball players, cross country, everybody signing and making a difference and playing at the next level. Jeff, you've said this before, and as someone who grew up here and dealt with it, a lot of times we as New Mexicans have an inferiority complex. Oh, we're just New Mexico. Oh, we can't do this. Oh, we can't compete. And when you see kids being able to compete with other kids on a national level, and all these poor old New Mexico kids, to me, it's really awesome. Quite frankly, it's inspiring, and I hope that it gets infectious, that it's something that, wow, we can compete. We're not just little old New Mexico. Look at what our kids are doing, just in the micro example of playing collegiate sports at all levels. And one of the things back when Rocky Long was the coach that I used to tell folks is that the Lobos had a shot at every D1 football player in the state. They didn't get them all, but they had a shot. And quite frankly, that hasn't been the case probably up until this year. So you figure there are approximately 800 or so high school football players in New Mexico, and 9 went D1, so a little more than 1%, which is about right. And you can honestly say Danny Gonzalez and the Lobo program had at least a shot, had at least a conversation with all of them, and signed 4. so just about half. So that's an incredible ratio. That's an incredible number, and to me, that shows tremendous progress, and that's definitely something that I'm excited about. So definitely, I'm glad that you guys celebrate that. I'm glad that you all have, Coach Dougie and obviously, and Coach Gonzalez on. That's something that should be celebrated at all levels here in this state. And real quickly, I want to comment on our resident local expert, Jerry Palm. We get emails and calls all the time about people complaining, well, the Lobo win, they barely won, and they, rightfully so, get chastised for, why are you complaining about a win? A win is a win. There's no such thing as a bad win. But then we get experts on talking about how USC has bad wins.
Yeah. Well, not bad wins, but not good enough wins.
Tomato.
Okay.
To me, that shows the ridiculousness of this system, because we're going by the eye test, and I guarantee you everybody making those decisions hasn't seen everyone play. They've only seen highlights, all that. And the fact that it is sport, you are the best. We've anointed you the best. And then if you get beat, they'll make excuses. Oh, it was a fluke or whatever. They had a bad week or COVID, what have you, when this could be easily solved as far as really trying to find a real champion. But anyway, that stuck out to me. As you say, Jeff, that's what leapt off the page, that we kill people for talking about bad wins, and yet here comes Jerry Palm. And it's not him per se, but talking about how the committee uses that as a criteria. So to me, that's just a joke. But don't want to ruin the good day. It was a great day, and I'm really pleased with the show. You guys doing a great job as usual. And, let's celebrate New Mexico.
Right on, man. It was a good day. I didn't have to use my AK. Good to hear you, man. Be well. It's always a good day, right, JJ? I didn't have to use my AK.
Yeah.
The cops drove right past me. All right, keep them coming. 505-246-0610. We'll get back to your comments. I got still more emails. Jeff at 610knml.com. JJ at 610knml.com. Tom Rinaldi's leaving ESPN. Like, maybe the best storyteller they've got. He's leaving as well. I mean, we got a lot of places still to go.
My stories at the Masters.
Who's going to tell you? Probably Jeremy Schaap. It's the opening drive on ProView Networks at 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
Winds up.
Get into the game with Garden Swartz Team Sales. They have everything you need, from screen printing, embroidery, and digital printing services, high school letterman jackets, and all high school and club uniforms, and individual and team apparel with the most reliable brands like Speedline, Rawlins, and Wilson. And don't forget to check out the latest F7 Shut helmet. It's all at Garden Swartz Team Sales. Give them a call, 505-884-1234. Garden Swartz Team Sales.
Moreno extra pass, and Watson. Out with it, Gallegos, and he's going to run all the way. Window, yes! Able to get out of it. How did he find Battle? It's to Cunningham, and it...
Ramos' hand.
Ramos puts it up, beats the buzzer!
Boy, Jefferson wide open.
Jefferson to Daraji! Into Watson with the jam!
Another steal by Davina Lovato, and here comes Agbayosi, lob, two-hand hammer. You knew that was coming.
Well, the lob tagged by Osi, the one-hand hammer.
It up. And a drive from Parham.
To create space, he gives it off to Rivas for the three, and he buries it.
Could be coming in soon. Double pick set for Avalos. Goes to the right. Avalos puts it up high. Window. Scores it as foul.
Right here by Lewis all the way, coast to coast, and finish.
What a
Around the screen against White. Step back. It's blocked. JB with the block.
In transition, ahead to hit on. Hit on for the two-hand hammer.
Minutes to go. They've got a shot. They have a chance, and it's put up, and it's good. What a three that is by Jalen.
Hito puts it up.
Rebound Cowboys. Right side David Hall. Thank you very much. Here come the Cowboys. Lamina Lovato lays it up. Missed it. Hey, how about it? Thank you, Lusses. Thank you very much, Raquan Mitchell. Clock at 6. They get it. Barnes Tompkins fires. Yes! Pass up court. This for the win. Blocked by DJ Bustos. Cowboys win. Cowboys win.
The New Mexico High School Coaches Association, established in 1941, is an organization of New Mexico's best and most professional interscholastic coaches. Coaches across work daily to help our student athletes excel in the classroom, on the field of play, and in our communities. Students that participate in interscholastic activities attain higher grades, higher graduation rates, and higher wages. Responsible for the North-South All-Star Games, statewide Coaches Award Program, and providing multiple professional development opportunities for New Mexico's coaches. Be a great coach by coaching beyond the game.
Our demographics skewing a little bit more to the ladies these days. Love to hear some ladies call in as well. 505-246-0610. I mean, it's not a call out today. It's not Ladies' Day per today, but every day is. Opening drive, Jeff, JJ, Micah. Ron wants to know, does Jacques Cousteau play for today's Lobo opponent? Le Tourneau. Remember Jacques Cousteau? Laurent Livard?
Laurent him in the corner.
with Cameron Bairstow.
Gotta do that to Cam Bairstow, man. That's a terrible position of your power forward guarding a shooting guard.
Yes, it is. And it'll live
Try his own defense.
See, we brought up a really bad memory for Rudy. Rudy, how were the turns up in Taos yesterday on a beautiful day at the Valley?
Oh, it was unbelievable. Over 20 new inches of snow. You know, they don't have a lot open. That's Taos. They do it every year. But Chair 1 and 2 were open, so it was open all the way to the top. The back bowls weren't open. I think they're leaving them for the Texans who are coming in next week. But I guess that's what you live with in New Mexico. But it was still a great day. I'm not going to complain, you know. I got to make turns. I got to be in snow. I got to ski a little powder. So it was a great day, all in all.
Little pow pow brah. Fresh pow pow. All right, what's going on?
Well, you know, I always kind of get a little bugged when national pundits get on and just say, well, they're just better. Why? Well, because Cincinnati isn't as good. Well, let's let them play on the field and see if that's true. No, we can't do that. Why not? Because Florida's better. They're better than Cincinnati. Yeah, they're better. Okay. And that's what you get when you deal with Power 5 people. They have two rules that they operate by. Rule number 1, we're never wrong. Rule number 2, if we're wrong, refer to rule number 1 and shut up if you're not a Power 5 conference. And somehow, some way, this has to be addressed because it's not equal. You know, if the TV money got split up equitably, you know how much more UNM could do with their football program?
Yeah, but that would mean someone else does less.
$1 million more. Just a measly million.
So,
in that
Rudy,
football program.
Rudy, you said, what would you call them? Power 5 conferences. Now, that's not the official name of it, right? They're the autonomous 5, but we refer to Power 5. What do people in power do, right? Power means they've got the power. It's like politicians. Who's in power in this state? Who's in power? And so, they don't give up their power, and they take care of themselves.
Crazy phrases like, this is science-backed, okay? We're relying on science for this. No, you're relying on the fact that you're in a power position and you're going to just wield that power.
Powers.
And that really bugs me. I mean, look, I was one of the haves for a while, and I still am. You know, I'm still a Michigan fan, and supposedly they had a top 5 recruiting class, and we'll see what Harbaugh does with that kind of talent. But I just think that this whole thing, coaching still is the key, okay? And if you don't believe me, ask Fresno State. Ask Wyoming. Because both of those schools thought they were just going to walk all over UNM. But those coaches at UNM have come up with some brilliant game plans. They've been able to motivate their athletes to play at a very high level. And that makes a big difference. And I think, congratulations to New Mexico State. I don't think there's a team I feel worse for than New Mexico State. And coming from a Lobo fan, that almost sounds like an oxymoron, doesn't it?
I mean, it's hard. I know it's hard for you, but it's the truth. I mean, heck.
No, it is. And I don't want them to not do well because the better they do, if we beat them, the better we are. And I really think the only way you solve things is on the field. And it's just not going to happen. These group of 5, gang of 5, whatever you want to call them, are not going to let go of their power until somebody intervenes. What they really have is a monopoly on the TV money and the bowl appearances that really count. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, Jeff, whatever you've done to get this game going, because I know, because I've been involved, it's not, it's a labor of love, but it's also a tremendous amount of work. And I always remember going up to you at the end of the bowl week and looking at you, and you look like Santa, okay? You've been up all night for probably 5 nights trying to make sure everything goes well. And when Danny tells you that it's the most organized, well-run bowl game, he's not just saying that. I've seen it, too. I've been to the Sugar Bowl. I've been to the Rose Bowl. I've been to the Cotton Bowl. I've been to, I can't tell you how many Rose Bowls. And, you do a great job, Jeff. And going into bowl week, I think that we need to acknowledge that and recognize you for all the efforts you've done to make this. It's going to feel weird not being there. It's going to feel weird watching, live from Frisco, Texas, the New Mexico Bowl. But I know you'll do your best to showcase New Mexico and the really wonderful place that we have here.
I appreciate that. That's really nice of you, Rudy. Thank you very much, and thanks for being part of it since the day we started it and the day we came to you and said, would you like to be a part of it? I appreciate you and everything you do and all those kind words, man. Enjoy the week, and thank you, Rudy.
You're welcome.
All right. Wow, that's really, really kind. Tommy, you're up next. Good morning, Tommy.
Well, so you said you wanted more women to call into the show, correct?
Well, yeah. I mean, a female voice every now and then would be cool, especially with the commercials we ran in the last break. Sure.
Well, sometime what I'll do is I'll have my good buddy, I'll have Tomasita that you give you a call. Would that work?
Yeah, I love Tomasita.
Well, we'll get that next time. But this is my rant for the Thursday. Yes, the caller before, we need an 18 playoff. It is possible for some of these teams to come up and beat the big boys. Boise State, Oklahoma years ago, it does happen. I never thought I'd see the day there'd be a 14 playoff when the computer was deciding everything. And then that happened, and I said, hallelujah. But then 2 or 3 years, I looked up to the college football gods. I go, you know what? We need 8 teams because some of these teams are being left out. I think it's time for that to happen. Who says Cincinnati or Boise State or teams like that can't beat one of the big boys on any given Saturday? It can't.
We watch it all the time. We watch it all the time. Yep, we see it all the time, man. It does happen.
And the last thing I'll say for the Cowboy fans out there, it's over. Let's think about next year getting some offensive linemen because ours is decimated, and some defensive playmakers on that side of the ball that can make plays. And the Mike Nolan, get him out of there. Terrible defensive coordinator for Atlanta back in the day. And then, of course, Moore, I don't think he should be an offensive coordinator. He needs to go to college and learn how to be OC. He just got thrown in there. That's my rap for Thursday. 8 teams. Take it to the bank, guys.
Thank you,
got the
Tommy.
best show in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Keep it up.
Appreciate you. Thank you, Tommy. Tommy called us at 246-0610. I can't wait to hear Tomasita. Tomasita, the trutha? That'd be good. All right. All right. You ready for your big game with Pine Bluff today?
Oh, absolutely.
You ready for the high score in Mahler? Yeah. All right. Got time to still get in. 505-246-0610, 888-922-0610. Emails are still coming in, jeff@610knml.com. Hey, security for your home or business is like insurance. You know you need it. I get it. You don't want to pay for it. And then some bad guy breaks in and you realize you should have been prepared. Don't wait. Call International Protective Service, IPS. Don't wait until it's too late. Let IPS and their highly trained armed guards or 24-hour patrols put a blanket of protection over your home or your business. The number is 505-897-2420. 505-897-2420. You can go to ipsglobal.com. Don't wait until it's too late. I know you see their vehicles around town. You see them in your neighborhood. People have peace of mind and that layer of protection. Holiday season, there's gifts on the porch. Don't let the porch pirates come and get them. IPS, no contracts. I've trusted IPS for years to watch my home. I see the patrolmen all the time. I see them on a regular basis come by the house. We talk to them. It just gives me a peace of mind, my family peace of mind, and it's that layer of protection that I'm glad we have. 505-897-2420 is the number. 505-897-2420 or go to ipsglobal.com. IPS is committed to make Albuquerque a safer place to live and work.
Second field goal, he's got 4 points. Watson, though, goes all the way.
Hit the deck, I should say. Cordova tried to throw it off. Romero, a 3 for...
Set out to Jutapia. Nice move behind his back. It's a good... Here's Ramos, step back, high arcing, 20!
But he needed to get his legs back under him.
Ooh, little kick.
They leave it one more time to Hammer.
Look at this, they're going to go score again. Look at this.
Up top! Yes, and the finish for Akbayosi. Saved into the hands of Riak, ahead of the pack to Davina Lovato. Up high, down hard for Akbayosi. Out of the corner, Casals, the 3-0, Katenge! Let me clean up the mess! He dropped out of the rafters for that one, Steve.
Dorian over. Did he get in?
Yeah, they got in. He got in.
Touchdown, Dorian Lewis.
Seconds to play. Benavides looking, still looking up the middle. It's intercepted. It's picked off by Freddie Anaya, and Roswell's season will end perfect.
Second quarter, 2nd and 4 for Socorro at the whole 44-yard line. McDaniel trying, good block by Hicks. First down and more, 30, 25, 20. McDaniel might be gone. Touchdown.
Wow.
Touchdown for Michael McDaniel.
It's 40 seconds this year. It's not like 25 like it used to be.
He laterals it back. What a play by Hightower. Pitch.
Looked like somebody moved a little bit early. Hicks, the play fake, double move. He's got his receiver wide open. Caught. One man to beat. Touchdown. Touchdown to number 17, Nathaniel.
Third and 6. Big defensive play coming up here. Little trickery to Reese. See you later. Touchdown. They went for the deep ball to Reese.
To the right, single receiver split to the left. Play fake, head up the middle, got some room. 50, 45, 40, has one man to beat. 30, 25, 10, 5, touchdown. Touchdown, Hope.
Wow.
On a
Option again. He'll keep it. Now he'll pitch it. Comes out to the 30, 25, 20, up the sideline. Still inbounds into the end zone. Let's see.
Touchdown.
Touchdown. Portell.
Davison in the play action, looking. He's going to go back to Lewis, and Lewis makes a cut, and Lewis still on his feet. Dorian Lewis is in for a touchdown. So Davison back to toss it. He's got all day. It's one miss, and he's rolling. He's got a guy. Can he get it there? Davison to Luke Weissong.
We told you he could spin that
Touchdown.
football, and that was a throw right there. I know he's got the win in his back, but
Shoot. They'll get one off, and it'll count high off the window.
Oh my gosh.
There's a long three.
Boom.
Bang. Martinez will beat the buzzer. Got it to go. His
Ford driving kick. Three's in the air. It's good.
nice pass on the nice block by Hernandez Cropper.
and Brown in the transition. But why not, Steve? Is Corbalon's going to go and he puts it away. And Corbalon wants to put it down. Here comes Scoochers. Brown, you can't leave him alone. Put it down.
All right, wrapping you up and getting you home on a really busy Tuesday here on these Sports Animals. So JJ's going to take the air, the voice of the Lady Lobos at 12:30, and you get Lady Lobo basketball against Pine Bluff. Is your mic open, J. Paul? Just checking on that. Thank you on that. And then tonight here on the Sports Animal, starting at 6, you get the NFL, Thursday Night Football, the Raiders and the Chargers, which is pretty good football. Over on News Radio KKOB, 2 o'clock, you get Lobo men's basketball. Robert Portnoy and Hunter Green will have the call. Lobos and Letorno down in Houston at Rice University. Your last chance to get a look at them before they start playing. How do you view these games? Are they both on YouTube, JJ? If people want to view them?
I know the Arkansas Pine Bluff stream is available through their website.
Through Arkansas Pine Bluff's website.
Yes, okay. And of course, you can find all those links. GoLobos.com. You can watch and, of course, listen to the broadcast.
Please do. the voice of the Lady Lobos, J.J. Buck. All right. Tom Rinaldi leaving ESPN to me was a big deal. He's going over to Fox. I think he is such a good storyteller. I think he's not the only one there. I think Jeremy Schaap's good. I think they got a lot of really good ones. But I think his long format stuff at the Masters, but all year long, I think he is so good. I think as much as Fox hires these guys, and this I say that with full disclosure, I am an ESPN employee. But it almost feels, I don't. Now, maybe this is me personally. Do you watch Fox for that sort of content nearly as much as you watch ESPN?
No. ESPN by default is the first station you usually go to. Like when you turn on the TV or you're looking for an update, that's how they've established it.
Well, I think it's sports fans' default. It's hard to, where do we go? Boom, we just, like you have a homepage on your computer. If you turn on your TV, I think that's where we go. And it feels like I haven't watched a lot of Skip Bayless. A lot of these guys that have left and gone to Fox, at least. I just, in some respects, they disappear. ESPN's got an incredible platform now. Dan Patrick's still there. You saw him on NBC for a while. Whatever. Everybody's got to take care of their family. You get paid. But I just hope. I don't know. I enjoy his work a lot, and I know I won't see nearly as much of it. Does that make sense?
He's a great storyteller.
Yeah. All right, we haven't hit this. James Harden. The stories that are coming out of Houston. The culture will be whatever James Harden wants the culture to be. The team knows if there's 3 days off, James is going to go somewhere and party, but he's going to come back and ball and put up 40 when he gets back. All that stuff works so well when you win. It does. He's the superstar. He can do what he wants. Johnny Manziel did it. They didn't win. It didn't work for him. It feels like it's blowing up on James Harden. I don't care. I know the narrative is that's why he's not a champion, right? That's why he's got to party all season. He can have a great regular season, but where is he in the playoffs? I don't know that I buy into that either. It feels like as this thing's blowing up, more and more is coming out, and I don't know that it's resolvable in Houston. And I'm not really sure what I think of James Harden. I don't know that a lot of this bothers me because I feel like Houston allowed this to happen. You allowed this culture to happen. If you sold your soul to a player, then it's kind of on you.
And I think James Harden, despite all that, has been a fantastic basketball player. And is it the stuff he does off the court that's why he's not a champion? No, it's called the Golden State Warriors. It's called the Los Angeles Lakers. As good as James Harden is, those teams, Lakers this year have been better. The Warriors were running the conference for the last few seasons. It's also called Chris Paul's hamstring. That's life. It's what happened when you had an opportunity in a series versus the Warriors and you couldn't close it out. That ultimately does fall back on you when you had that position in the Western Conference Finals. And also, it's just everything comes to an end. And this team was built for James Harden, built around James Harden, which is why I don't go crazy when I break down Houston Rockets basketball, because they asked James Harden to play that way. They said, this is what we think is best for us to be successful, to win a lot of games. But now, new coach, system is changing, and James feels like he's ready for something else.
Yeah, I think that's what we're going to see. All right, thank you to Doug Martin, the head football coach of New Mexico State, Danny Gonzalez, the head football coach of the University of New Mexico, Jerry Palm from CBSSports.com. All guests on the opening drive today. The Jim Rome Show is next. You get Lobo women's basketball. JJ will take the air at 12:30. Then some sports bar after Lobo women's basketball. And then the NFL tonight, Raiders and Chargers at 6 o'clock. We'll be back tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. with more award-winning radio for you. Did I get all that right?
Absolutely. A great day to be a sports fan and listen to sports radio.
On the Sports Animal. Jay Pole, Josh, great work on the ProView side. I'll see you guys in a little bit. Mike, I'll see you today as well. Great work on the radio side. JJ, enjoy the day. Good luck and have fun with the radio broadcast.
Have a day, y'all.
Be good to each other, please. Be kind, loving, caring, and sharing. We'll see you tomorrow.
As we enter this very
Rashawn in transition, 3-on-2. Rashawn going to go all the way. Whoa, Morgan. Tommy Segura.
Over dribble, spin cycle, up and under move. What a pass, wrap around pass.
Harris, Legate, the long bomb, 3 ball.
Oh, great steal by Quinteros, lays it up and scores.
A whole little jump step in the... And look out, here comes Agbayosi. Crawford set. That's blocked. Lansing says, get that out of here. Sister to sister, Marianne Lansing's going to go all the way. Turnaround. Ramos, pump fake, everyone bites. Ramos hits.
Jackson loses it. Jalen Bond back. LAU. Put it down. Dunkalicious. How about it?
Lovato driving. They're going to count it. Gallegos. Ooh, a little spin and a finish. Here's Natalia Chavez. Good spin. Takes a...
Here's Ramos. Nice jump stop to the...
Maybe gambling a little bit. Oh, there's a...
Hill, little step, high window. And a...
Got the second.
To the middle. Here we go, 3.9. It's Cooper's going to run with it. Cooper's going to swing it out to Lowry. Lowry,
Portillo couldn't get it off, and Clovis
goes in.
It's waved off. He did not get it off in time. Portillo.
Reverse layup. Gallegos spins, window, finishes.
There's a run coming from
lazy pass. Here comes Crawford. It might be showtime.